Hello and welcome to episode 190 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hellman.
I'm Jeb Mayo.
10 away from 200. Goddamn, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? We'll do something mildly special, but probably not that special because we just have not thought about this long enough in advance.
We got 10 weeks.
We have 10 weeks. We do have 10 weeks. That is going to be gone in a blink of an eye. But hi, how are you doing this fine Monday evening?
I'm pretty good, Darby. How about you?
I'm doing good. The post E3 blues, I don't know. Not really. Whatever. It's just coming down from it. You know, make sure you go check out all of our E3 stuff that we just did last week or whatever. It took up so much of the podcast that we had to push our game talk into a separate episode, which is going to be this entire episode. So
We just have a lot.
yeah, if you want to hear us talk about like E3 stuff and newsy stuff, you can listen to last week's episode where we cover a lot of different topics. But this week, all games, all stuff that we've been playing, and we've been playing a lot.
Indeed. We have 10 games, I believe, on the docket.
Hooey!
There are a lot of demos on here, which is why that is the case. I'll go ahead just in case, if you've listened to us stuff enough to know that we really like that Final Fantasy Remake game.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you might figure that we're going to play that Intermission DLC. You might be here to listen to that. Well, we're closing with that. So we can go full on with spoilers and not feel much as assholes for spoiling things.
Yeah.
It's easier for people to jump out.
Use them timestamps.
Yep.
And yeah, we're going to probably dive straight into spoilers. So, be warned.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be able to talk about it without going into spoilers because we got to.
We gotta.
But you know what we're not going to be spoiling?
What, Darby?
Ratchet and Clank.
Damn. My plan all along.
Rip. Someone pointed out, they're probably right. You know, all the Ratchet and Clank titles have like going commando up your arsenal and stuff like that. So this is probably supposed to be like Ratchet and Clank rip a fart, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That makes me sad.
That's immediately what I thought of.
I didn't think about it because it just that just seems like a cool name.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
See,
it.
that's why it works. It works both ways.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of work both ways. Fractured butthole, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that is a grade A title there.
Oh, that is the best title in video game history. I mean, like,
some would say all of mankind.
so just lock it in. You're not beating it. But you know what? Insomniac hasn't beaten this game because this game is fantastic.
Yes.
It's real damn good. I am really enjoying this game. It's obviously one of the most stunning visual games I've ever played in my life, just with the whole PS5 all in. Crazy, it's a graphical showpiece for the PS5 in a very cool way because it's a like cartoony look, but it is still just mind-bendingly impressive looking. I think overall it like doesn't necessarily like reinvent the Ratchet and Clank wheel, but I think it's a very fun experience.
Yes. Overall, well, I guess I say that as I'm reading from other people that more and more bugs being added to the game with every patch.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it. I've had many bugs.
I haven't had too many.
I've had many.
I had like one that I would say. But yeah, very positive as far as the gameplay and everything, and just feels very tight. And you can get pretty with the SSD. It allows you to get very creative with the rifts and all that kind of stuff, as far as teleporting, even just kind of across the arena you're in, or going into a whole different world. Like, there are a couple of boss battles in this where you're just traveling through worlds. You're just doing something and open the whole. Oh, you're here now. And here's all the creatures and new landscape and all that, and it's just instantaneous. Like,
and even as simple as like you're going around the world and you see a rift and you just walk through it and you're immediately in a whole other map. There's like no loading screens ever and anything like that. It just like you're in this other environment immediately and you can like see where you came from and walk right back into it. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
In general, this was also my first PS5 game of any consequence, really. Like I guess I played Intermission before this, but that's the PS4 game enhanced for the most part. And
Well, Intermission itself is PS5 only.
I know, but it's a base PS4 game. Like, this is the first time I ever had like the haptic feedback thing for the most part in the like full ass game and everything. It was like made from the ground up for this or whatever. And that's been really, really cool. I will say, like, I mean, I don't think it's like something like completely changing the way we look at video games, but I do think like the haptics and everything do add something really cool to the experience. Yeah. I like, at first it was a little weird, but like as I played, it was like I really started to like the controller and the different feedback you get from the different guns.
Yeah, it's a nice way to see that you're out of ammo. It's like, oh no, I'm out. Leave it alone and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or need more ammo. Switch guns.
Yeah, and in general, the way that the vibration will play for different things going on when you get hit in a certain way, or you go over some certain surface or anything, or even when like Ratchet's typing on the computer. There's a lot of those things that I like thought like this just seems like it's going to be too much and it's going to be obnoxious. So it's like, no, I actually like most of it. I actually think and even the like microphone through the controller is actually a good microphone. I always, in every console ever, turn that shit off because it always sounds horrible. It sounds so much worse than what's coming on your TV, but this is actually like, no, it actually adds something to it when you get hit and you hear like and the thing. Yeah, I think it's really well done.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I guess as far as when we mentioned going through the worlds themselves are interesting, and there's variety there as far as the different maps that I've seen so far.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it feels like a Ratchet and Clank game for sure. I think in a lot of ways it was like, I think they were focusing on the tech, and like this was probably a very hard game to make, and I think they definitely is like, we're gonna add the Ratchet and Clank formula to this crazy tech and everything, and just see, like, not really try to reinvent the formula, just like perfect it with this, which I do think this is like far and away the best Ratchet and Clank game. I think this is like probably one of the best made as far as just like design and everything of any of these Sony 3D platformers dating back a long way. Like, it's not my favorite, obviously, but like it's like, I think it's the best made probably out of all of them.
Yeah, really using the advancement in technology since those days to their advantage with all that.
100%.
But yeah, it's really fun going to world to world. Okay, what is going to be the gimmick here? Because something, we talked about going through the rifts and all that. A couple of worlds have a thing where you like hit a little crystal thing and you like go into a different dimensional version of that place. Yeah. And it completely changes the landscape and all that kind of stuff, what is going on.
Yeah, hold on, let me turn the air down a little bit.
What it looks like. Like you in this nice like big ocean area, you hit it, it's like, oh, everything's frozen. Snowstorm, let's go. Or you're on this planet, hit it, oh, everything's destroyed and you're in space. And just a lot less space to move around and all that. You gotta figure out where to go.
Yeah, and especially like, I won't spoil things or whatever, but I think like the kind of slightly horror-esque section that I just went through with the Ratchet was definitely my favorite part of the game so far. And I think the like flipping back and forth between the dimensions like they did really cool things with it from a gameplay perspective, but also a story where you're like seeing characters from one dimension and seeing their counterpart in the other one and going back and forth. It's like, it's definitely like a sort of gag or like mechanic that they use like in really cool ways. And like flipping between, what did you think about like flipping between Ratchet and Rivet and everything? Playing with them?
I liked it. I like it from a story perspective. It kind of keeps it fresh, so we're kind of focusing on different characters and what they're going through and learning more about Rivet. I guess how do you feel about switching between them and playing?
Yeah, I like them a lot. Like I have like mixed feelings about and I mean that really. Like, I'm not like saying I have mixed feelings. Like, I actually hate it. I really have mixed feelings about the how they play. They're identical to each other. Like,
yeah, whenever you get something for one, it's other for like a big example. I think this happened maybe to both of us, or might be in slightly different order. It happened with me where I got like hover boot things with Ratchet, and then when I went back to Rivet, She just had them.
She just suddenly has them.
There's no reason for her to have them. And if I went to that level, because you at some point you can select which one you do first. And that was one of the cases. If I went through it before, that I could have done that area without them.
Yeah, and it's not explained at all. There's a lot of things like this is a video game, and I think there's a lot of places where it's like the gameplay comes first, which I think is right for this game. I think that's good. I do think it leaves some bit of like from a gameplay perspective, like I think there's a little bit of a bummer when you're like flipping between these characters. You kind of expect like they have different personalities, they have different stories going on. You kind of expect there to be some difference between them, like in an interesting way or whatever, which there's part of me that like is slightly bummed about that, but then there's another part of me that is like kind of happy that I don't have to worry about like Rivet's upgrade tree and Ratchet's upgrade tree and and things like that.
Yeah. It is kind of a bummer, I guess, that there's really no use for Rivet has a robot arm. There's really no like gameplay.
They're
way to do it.
Yeah, they're like they are identical for sure, but I mean it's not to say that like they're identical gameplay wise, so Rivet serves no purpose. I mean, I think like the story is very cool because of them.
Yeah, and even if the gameplay is the same, it's a nice change of pace after all these Ratchet and Clank games. Yeah, you have someone else back that Clank's writing for a little while.
Right. Yeah, and I'm definitely okay with saying it's like you have Clank is with Rivet for like most of the game, Ratchet's with someone else. It's like they do the switch up thing, so like most of the game Ratchet and Clank are not together, which is interesting. I think it definitely like you kind of get to see the origin or like people like meeting and get that chemistry going up together, and it probably also works really well for a lot of people. This is probably their first Ratchet and Clank game, so you don't necessarily feel like you're missing out as much on this. You get to see this character relationship start from the beginning, which is really cool. It's a pretty simple arc to make, but I think it like works really well.
I agree. Yeah, I really like the addition of Rivet and the other character you alluded to, and I'm very. I guess two things. I know we're not done with the game. Neither of us are done with the game yet. We're both decently close.
Yeah, and I think so, like 65% or something. I think so.
Do you think Rivet will be back in the future, and do you want her to come back?
Yes to both. I think yes to both. I mean, if there is more Ratchet, which I'm assuming there probably will be, I do think.
I think there's opportunity. I mean, because there's Miles Morales, there's precedent for Insomniac to do this, to do a kind of Miles Morales version with Rivet. Where it's a shorter game, but it's focused on her story or going on her adventures. Or I think people, from what I've seen, people really like her. I don't know why she can't, be about as marketable as Ratchet and Clank.
I think she will. Yeah.
Just, if they don't want to do you doing both again, or, after like another game or so, just do Rivet and like.
Yeah. I think that
could do it all in Rivet's universe.
I think that could absolutely work. No, I would be shocked if Rivet was just a one game.
Yeah,
but if there's going to be more Ratchet, I think she would be a part of it, and I think she should.
I agree with you, because even if they weren't planning it, I feel like the reception to just her announcement and how it has grown since then. And I haven't read too much stuff because I'm want to avoid spoilers and stuff. What I've seen from people, then it's like, okay, people like her too much to just for her to go away.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it was very smart with this franchise that's been around for so long, and it's kind of taken many iterations or whatever, and it kind of feels like it could definitely start to feel like, okay, we've done the same thing a bunch of times, which this game does in a lot of ways, but like I think introducing Rivet and having Rivet be like, she's not just she's kind of a new character that takes second fiddle to Ratchet. No, she's like, you play like, if anything, I might have played slightly. I think I've played like slightly more of her than Ratchet so far.
Yeah.
But it's basically 50-50. It's like is directly.
It's telling that I think back. It's like I really don't know which one I played more. She's
co-protagonist for sure. I mean, I'm sure their levels are probably going to be half and half by the end of it, like the amount you played.
Definitely the amount of levels, but yeah,
100%. And I think she's in the like. Can we just talk about the freaking animations? The facial acting is just ridiculous. I mean, I think there's been many games that we've said it looks like a Pixar movie. I think this one makes us look like fucking idiots for calling any of the previous games we've said.
I think that happens multiple. Like, well, the thing is, people said this is like a Pixar movie back in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
or something.
I know. It's like,
No, but I
it's
agree
all
with you.
relative.
I
We
felt like
didn't
we
know.
kind of got that Ratchet and Clank 2016, and that just kind of take it to the next level.
Yeah, do a much bigger next level.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, and I still don't know how they freaking do it. Like, I mean, same thing goes for movies, how they'll have, like, cartoon-looking characters with very, like, simple features. Like, they have, like, just on their face, most of it is, like, skin or fur or whatever, and they have very simple features. But they're able to communicate so much emotion through there, and it's really crazy. And I think it's Jennifer Hale, I think, like,
Yes.
voices, she kills it.
Yes.
As Rivet, like, very, 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 very strong.
Also, MVP, the Morts.
The Morts are the freaking best. It's so dumb and I love it. Oh god, yeah, the Morts are absolutely great. And I would say like the weapons and everything. I think the weapons are very like fun to use and everything. And I think like today, like before you got here, when I was doing the level 2 challenge room or whatever arena thing or whatever, that was where it was like really that was the first time where it's like, man, this is fun. Like this combat, like I think that battle arena kicks ass. And like I loved having like I'm excited to do the next one because I think obviously it's a kids game and I think it's pretty easy for the most part. But having those where it's like I'm zooming with the boots and dodging and jumping on these platform things and like blasting people, like cycling through all my weapons or whatever, and it kind of makes you breathe a little bit. Like I think it was like that combat works really, really well.
I agree, and I like with like the arena thing where it's not all just use all your weapons to defeat thing. They got a couple where it's like you have to use this weapon, and that kind of makes you rethink how you got to do things.
And it made me realize like I want that warmonger. I want it right now.
Oh yeah, that was Same for me. I did not have the warmonger then. But what's also great about that is I leveled up like twice during that thing or whatever. So when I bought it, it's like okay, I got some.
Yeah,
I'm leveled up.
I did something very bad though. I was very excited to get the warmonger. I went to Miss Zircon. I forgot. I thought it was the Bombardier. I thought the Bombardier was the warmonger. I forgot the name of it, so I bought the Bombardier and immediately was like, "Oh fuck, that was the wrong one." So I still don't have the warmonger.
Shame.
Yeah, shame. I only need like 10,000 more bolts. So I was like, God. As soon as I clicked it, I'm like, damn it, that was the wrong one. Damn it. Oh boy. I guess I will talk about. It sounds like I had more than you. I have had a lot of bugs in this game. I've certainly had a lot of things.
I guess I say I haven't had. Okay, one I know we definitely shared was when we in one level when we went through the portal again to leave the level. Like the platforms disappeared. I mean, visually they disappeared. Physically they were still there.
Yeah.
And I was able to make it almost to the end of the level. I jumped towards the ship, apparently too early, and I fell to my death. But then it came back.
Yeah. And I mean,
there's like one time where I kind of like fell in between something, and I was just kind of endlessly falling next to a box.
Yeah. Most of my bugs have been like pretty simple things like that, but it's just like it definitely seems like I think this was a very hard, stressful game to make with all the moving parts, and I think that it just wasn't completely polished to a sheen at launch. I've had moments where like I jumped down off of a platform to get to an area I was supposed to get to, but the game wanted me to walk on a platform to get there, so the game couldn't handle it, whatever. So I was there. It was like something was supposed to be happening and it wasn't happening, and I had to load out and load back in and then walk there, and then the cutscene played. That's happened to me like several times, and then I've had a bunch of other times where like I'll like walk up and someone will start talking and then they'll like stop and I'll be like okay, and I'll back up and come back in, they'll restart their voice line. I'm like, all right. that was weird. And I've had like several like weird hiccups like that. I had like my pause screen, all the text started going over each other. Like when I would go to another tab, it would like the text from the previous tab was overlapping with the other one.
No, Dari, that was Monica.
Oh no! Yeah, it didn't look like. So, I posted a picture on Twitter. Where I was like, wait, Miss Zircon, what exactly is my balance? Because it's just like this crazy alien symbol. It's like, oh god. Most of it's been like little things like that. I have had to restart the game like 2 or 3 times. But and then this last one, I was in the battle arena. Like my the DualSense like vibration thing just started like it would go like it would get like every 3rd shot I did, and it would just like go silent for the rest of it. And even like even the sound on the screen on the TV was like also would cut out for a while and then come back in. It was like all over the place, and it was really messing me up. It was like just like vibrating at like the wrong intervals, and I'm like, okay, and I had to back out and go back in, and it did. So I've had a fair enough. I mean, that's a good many bugs or whatever. So I mean, I guess that is something to consider. We might have this for a while with PS5 games. PS5 only games. Not that we get many of them.
So
we really don't get many of them.
It goes to show you this is what happens when you don't crunch.
No, I think
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure CD Projekt Red shows that shit don't matter.
True.
Yeah, well, this game is very good so far. I'm very interested to see. I mean, I don't even know where. I mean, my game of the year doesn't matter, but I'm just interested to see where it shakes up and just what I think about it, like going forward and everything. Because, like I said, I don't think it like reinvents anything too much. I don't think it's like the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life, but I think it is a very well-made Ratchet and Clank game that definitely brings back those vibes and everything. You know, I mean, if we had not gotten 2016, I would be like losing my shit right now. You know, if this was like the first.
But
thing
that's a bad game.
Apparently. I still don't understand.
If you ask true Ratchet and Clank fans.
Well, the freaking Sly Cooper fans do the same thing. I'm just learning that gamers can't be pleased. You can't make gamers happy.
But Darby, you know what actually pleased gamers from what I saw? The Pokemon Unite beta.
That is surprising.
It's true. Yeah, for people who don't know, Pokemon fans lost their fucking minds when this game was announced last year. Just like hated it, hated the Pokemon company, why this existed, blah blah, instead of their dream project. And now that we're getting close to it being released and there's beta and stuff, people seem to like it. Whoa,
it's almost like it's an actual good game, and you should probably like play it before you judge it like that. I don't know. Pokemon fans having a not leveled reaction is nothing new, but
it's true.
We committed gamer crime and we played the Japanese beta.
I committed fraud.
Jeff is gonna be right in jail with Yoshi. They're gonna share a cell.
Fuck you, man.
For their fraud.
All the eggs I can eat.
Yeah, so me and Jeff flew to Japan just to play the Pokemon Unite beta.
Yeah.
And very it was definitely worth the trip.
Yep.
So we got to play. I played a little bit more than Jeff, but Jeff got to play a fair amount of matches as well. Jeff, let's see about you first, because you are a Pokemon fan, not a MOBA fan. In fact, I've been trying so hard to get you to play League with us, and you just outright refuse. Yeah. But like, what does slapping a bunch of Pokemon on League do for you?
It does a lot, Darby. No, I think besides that, it's just it being a simpler version of League is just kind of appealing to me. It's just easier to get in. Like, I probably played about as much Pokemon Unite as I did League. I just understand it a lot more.
Yeah.
In the same time frame.
Makes sense, yeah.
I feel like I was doing more.
Yeah.
In comparison.
I am very, very impressed with this beta. I mean, I've been very interested in this game for a long time, but like, you know, until you get your hands on it, you don't know exactly how it's going to feel. It's there's definitely a lot of things different. It's like playing on a controller, where like I'm used to playing on mouse and keyboard with League, and there's lots of different things going on. The scoring system is very different and everything. I was just like wondering how like dumbed down is this going to feel? Is it just going to start to feel like chaos, or is it still going to feel very strategic? But now that I've played it, it's like, no, there is a lot of strategy going on here. Even
if people didn't utilize strategy.
For sure. And people don't do that in League too. It's gonna happen. Sure. It's gonna freaking happen. But no, like, I think this is like poised for success in a big way because I think, like you said, it simplifies things down to where like I think a lot more people can get in this and understand it. But I think everyone's move set is designed with a cool purpose in mind. Like it doesn't just seem like willy-nilly chaos. It's like, okay, you're serving this role and you can like play off of this. And like I was already by the end of it starting to like, set up attacks for someone else. I would like see my teammate coming up, so I'd be like, all right, let's stun them. They jump in, let's freaking go. Or Eldegoss, like I see someone's about to die, I run in there, do a big buff, and it's like, okay, now we can win the fight. And like there's definitely a lot of these fights are like right on a knife's edge, which is where you want them in this type of game. And the scoring mechanic, it was probably the thing I was the most worried about, because it's just, you can score anywhere. It just almost seemed like it might have been too open, and it's just, about just farming a bunch of things and ducking in the hoop. But like once you get into there, it's like, no, that is very strategic, because like you have to win most of the time you have to win a team fight to get there and dump it in. But even if that's happening or whatever, that's its own thing, is you have to beat these people so that you can score. But then there's also the mind games of, we're gonna send like 4 people over here and you go over there and dunk it in the other side while they're too busy dealing with us.
Yeah, or like, even dealing with the different like minion Pokemon, because there's like the legendary Pokemon in the middle, like Zapdos and stuff, and then they're like one of the step lower than like Rotom and Dreadnought that get you a lot of points that take effort to beat, and it's the last one who hits them who gets the credit. So
you can steal that shit.
Yep.
Too, for sure. And the risk reward of, I have a bunch of points, we just killed them. Should I like go try to score really fast before they respawn and get back, or should I spend this time to go like build up some more points and then hope that we win the next fight, and then I'll have a massive payout or whatever. Yeah, there's definitely a risk reward there.
Especially around the 2-minute mark where the points double. If you're getting, let's say it's like, I could do this right now, or I could take the risk, wait like 30 seconds and hope that I survive.
Right. And because then it can be a really big thing if it's like a super close game, because I mean that gets a level of like intensity when like I decide I'm not gonna go score this, I'm gonna like get some more Pokemon, and then we start that next team fight and I'm like, okay, I better not die because I'm sitting on 70 points right now. And I better not die.
There's some things we don't completely understand because it was in Japanese, so like and as far as the points go and potentially knowing who has what, definitely at some point I have no idea what causes. It might have been a time thing. At the beginning of matches, you don't know what people have, and then suddenly their points show up, friend and foe, next to their name.
Yeah, which that's interesting. Yeah, I had not even caught that from all my games until you said it.
So I'm curious. I'm very excited to get the English version to just kind of learn some of the stuff we didn't completely understand, like the move sets and how you choose exactly what moves stick in there and how exactly that works.
Yeah, because that's the other thing to say too, is that basically everyone has 2 moves and a super, but those 2 moves you choose them and they branch off, like you can go off in like different directions with them. And from our experience, it seems like they can be pretty drastically different. Like it's not just different stats on the same move or a different variation. Like some of them are like a completely different move.
You can either get an attacking move or you can get a healing move in some situations.
Yeah, and Eldegoss had like Eldegoss was the one I played the most, but he had like healing, he had a stun, big tornado thing that goes stuns or whatever. Or I think he had like a speed boost or whatever. So like you could definitely build him at like, okay, we want to go all offense, we want to go in on this or whatever. But the cool thing about Pokemon Unite with that is that you can make that decision halfway through the match. Yeah. You don't have to decide at the beginning, I'm going this healing route. You can decide that later. And like, I love that, like, obviously they want to like have these attacker, defender, support things or whatever, just so you have like an idea at the beginning of what you're doing or whatever. But the more we see of this or whatever, I think those are just guidelines, and I think there's a lot of characters like Alola Ninetales is a great example that can be dual purpose, can be what you want, because like I definitely noticed there was like super attacking moves with her, But she
What I
also
used.
yes, she also had a move where like, she put like a barrier down or whatever that traps people in, and also had the like stunning moves or whatever. So like if like Alex was playing Greninja or something, we had like a super big attacker there. I could play a Alolan Ninetales, and choose the stun abilities to set him up, stun, like they all jump, pounce on them, or a Alolan Ninetale. I can be like, no, let's go offense, like. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. Like a lot of those tank characters also, I think, can be dual purpose in that way.
Yeah, and the more I play that, the more I felt okay with that, especially in something I like about this as far as making it different from like League and stuff is the 10-minute time limit.
Yeah.
It's the fact, in comparison, matches can pretty quick. You know exactly how long they're going to be. And it makes the idea, okay, you only have so many moves, you're more okay with that. So you're not stuck with 2 moves for 30 minutes or whatever League matches go for.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. You feel like you can experiment more and stuff with that. And yeah, there's something nice, especially since this is supposed to be something like slightly more casual. It's nice to know that you're going to be in and out of there in 10 minutes, like you can play this on a lunch break or play this like really quick or whatever and do something. It's not like this could go an hour. You never know.
Yeah. Especially, so I guess part of that reason might be. I mean, I said I don't know how the League mobile version does it or how different it is from that way. This is also a mobile game, and they went into making it knowing that.
Yeah.
So that might have been part of their decision as far as putting that time limit on.
Yeah. I mean, the League mobile version is definitely faster. There's not a time limit on it, but it's just the game moves like much, much faster. Which I think that's interesting. And a whole nother element that we didn't get to experiment at all is there's going to be multiple maps on here. And from what you've seen, what you were showing me, it's like seems like they're pretty darn different.
The Pokemon Unite Twitter account has been posting steadily about maps and posting character and stuff. But as far as the maps goes, unlike League, there are a bunch of different maps, it looks like, and I assume they'll add more to different Pokemon on them. Some do share or whatever, but the thing that will be very different is sometimes the amount of characters they do that are in each team. There's some that are 3v3, so we just can just go. That me, you, Alex, and
yeah, it was so exciting.
Yeah, and just the way the map works, because in the map that was in the beta, it was a pretty big, probably one of the larger ones based on the ones we've seen, and they had like, I guess I would say 5 goals for each team. But there's one where there's only 1 goal per team, so exactly where everyone is going at some point.
That's just the team fight mode.
Yes. And then there is another map where I think it might be a 4v4 if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact number, where there are 2 goals still, but either team can score at those. It's not team designated.
Yeah.
So
that is
they seem to be experimenting with the maps as well, which is, I think, very nice.
It's the all random, all mid. There's a mode in League where it's just one lane and you just like go fight each other over and over again. So that's basically what this one is.
Yeah. And they obviously vary in size and all that, and just the way it's structured as far as where you can move and all that, the lanes and all that.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy with how interested you seem in the game. That makes me happy.
Yeah. Decided to try out more Pokemon because we didn't have too many in there.
No, and we had to unlock them like almost like you would in the normal game, like in the beta. So there was a lot of ones we didn't have access to, and then we had like Garchomp and Greninja, but they were like taken immediately every time. So I never got to play Garchomp at all. I played Greninja once. They did pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm also excited because when we do get the regular game, we'll know how to get there because we can read it, but it's a practice mode where you can try out any characters.
Yeah, which I did manage to do once, and I don't know how I got there. Didn't manage to do it once.
So I guess we can maybe end this on I guess Pokemon in general, and I guess the general roadmap as far as the excitement for that is, hey, we know we're getting more Pokemon. I think these have been in the past betas, Gardevoir and Blastoise.
I know Gardevoir has at least. Yeah.
And Blastoise has definitely been shown, but they're going to be post-launch characters.
Yeah.
So we're going to get them later. Probably not too much later. Imagine they're just kind of some balance stuff going on with them.
Yeah,
based on
either
the beta.
balance or they just want to already have the hype of like, hey, new things, come back from the new things.
And people have data mined Unite and already found what I presume is the character after those two, which is Blissey, which is going to be a support Pokemon. And probably a pretty tanky one.
I like the supporties.
Yeah, and I can... As for people who don't know, I already told Darby this, but Blissey/Chansey is the nurse's Pokemon in the anime and in the games and stuff. So healing makes sense, and based on the icons for her moves, don't know exactly what they are and what they do, but obviously there are a decent amount of healing ones there.
Good.
You also throw eggs at people.
Those are two things I love to do.
Yep.
Heal and throw eggs at people.
Yep. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I think this game's going to do quite well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even though they're like giving it no marketing in the West, it's crazy. But yeah, I think it's going to do very, very well.
Yeah,
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, like Nintendo, a week or so ago, I think it was after the announcement it was coming out in July, put a thing where they were talking about all the mostly exclusive games that are coming out. Big games that are coming on the Switch for this year. Pokemon Unite wasn't on there. What up with that?
Because it's coming to mobile as well. It's not exclusive.
Yeah. Well, Life is Strange is on there.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That's
That's why I went back on exclusive real quick. I was like, no, wait, Life is Strange is on there. So
even Nintendo has freaking forgotten about this game. It's just... It is very weird. I mean, I know MOBAs are not as popular in America, but Jesus.
They're not as talked about. They probably still make about as much money as one of these other big ones.
They're still very big. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's only like, obviously the fans were super shitty about the game when it came out, but it seems like legitimately Nintendo of America also just doesn't think about this game whatsoever. And it's very weird. I mean, it'll probably be a similar thing to League, where there's like our gaming sphere, like, knows nothing about it or knows nothing about it, and also like
shits on it
and thinks it's not that big. They don't realize that it's like gargantuan.
And then we're like chilling in there watching stream with 1 million viewers on Twitch for a Pokemon Unite Championship.
Yeah, and I could see this being one of those things. And they're like, oh yeah, well there's Pokemon Unite there, but like no one really cares about that. It would be like, okay, all right, sure they don't.
I am going to be partially curious, like when this does actually come out. Yeah, our gaming circle. How many people are actually going to try? I think there'll be a good many that try because it has the Pokemon name on it.
Yeah,
but I'm curious if it like converts anyone.
I mean, apparently the reception has been like better than I thought, so maybe it'll go there. But like, most of the people in our at least the gaming podcast that I listen to, whatever, that like I haven't even heard them like a single. I think they forgot this game existed, and I don't see it getting to those.
Yeah, prediction. Unless I'm forgetting them already talking about it, we're coming up on Easy Allies on their podcast doing Pop Tarts and Toaster Strudels.
I mean, it's not gonna.
No. It's probably gonna be on there, like on that list, because he's gonna do Jones is going to do the giant list of games. He probably would mention it, and there's gonna be, depending who's on that panel, a mixture of what's that, and like that's still that game's coming out.
Probably.
Yep.
Probably. God, I wonder how weird it would be for me because I wasn't playing it, didn't have much context for it back then. But when Kyle went on this whole like League characters aren't really that popular because you don't see them in Walmart thing.
Oh yeah.
But that would be weird to listen to now.
League, not popular.
It's not popular. Kyle Bosman said so. But yeah, this is one of the most anticipated games of the year.
I'm trying to think.
It's not my now. It's my most. Now that finally is 7th.
Okay, Dari, just a fun question, putting on the spot real quick. Based on what you played, what is the chance this is your game of the year?
There's a chance. There's certainly a chance.
I just really want you to see my game of the year is Pokemon. I don't care what's after that.
we got one. Confetti. Like, he jump plants confetti in here. Goes
confetti shaped like Pikachu's head.
Oh my god, that would be great. I'll like come to the game of the year talk dressed as Pikachu.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it. Obviously it's your list. Thinking about it for you and your taste, like there is a pretty decent.
There is a chance.
There's a chance of that for sure.
Mean, it's something like Ratchet and Clank and everything is like incredible, but like it's like I said, it's more Ratchet and Clank. There's definitely like I'm saying it's not like infallible. It's like, to be like taken down by something. And like, yeah, if I like, I mean, you see how much I play of League now. If I like do similar, like somewhat similar numbers of Pokemon Unite all year, I might just be like, fuck yeah, this is good.
I was thinking what other games you're interested in this year. I'm like, if you get if you like Pokemon about as like anywhere close to as much you like League, then it's gonna.
Well, I mean, legit, we talk about doing if we do the 200 episode 200 and redo our top games of all time. I'm gonna have to think long and hard about where I'm putting League of Legends, like long and hard.
I mean, I'm saying this on the podcast, so I'm putting it out there to people to listen to. I'm up for depending on the news week that week. Just
I'm down to do.
Doing that and expansion pass on our Hall Fame character things, and that'd be primarily it.
Yeah, I'm down with
Maybe
that.
one or two news thing if something big happens or games playing, but
For sure.
that'd be primarily it.
For sure.
Whoop, whoop.
Well, speaking of old ancient games now, so long ago. Like,
It's true.
Such old news. Like, who even remembers this game?
I don't know, Dory. Who does remember Resident Evil Village?
Not me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there was
I finished it like... Man, I finished that a bit close to a month ago, haven't I?
Do you remember any of it?
No.
I think there was some tall lady that people were really horny for. That's about all I got.
Ethan's hands got a little hurt.
Yeah, a little messed up. So you've talked about a bunch. Are you gonna just like dive into spoilers here? Should we tell people the timestamp? Well, how would you want to tackle?
I think it'd be fun to go into spoilers.
Okay, so you recommend the game?
I do recommend the game. I love this. It's probably my game of the year so far.
Makes sense. I know all the story beats and it's pretty wild. All right, so if you care about Resident Evil spoilers, please use the timestamp.
Part of the reason I'm okay saying that is
video.
if you really care. Oh, sorry, you played the game already.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this long after, I don't know if we need to go through let's sell you on Resident Evil Village talk.
Yeah.
I think it's more we need to just talk about the game. So yeah, use timestamps if you don't want to. If you don't want to be spoiled.
Sorry, Jacob. That's the one.
And we probably will be having a Resident Evil spoiler cast probably super late after the fact whenever Jacob plays it. Unleash.
This game's bonkers, man.
It's fucking crazy.
But what I really love about this is it and this is me as more, newer, I guess, a more casual Resident Evil fan in comparison, starting with 7 and playing the 2 and 3 remakes and stuff. But I just kind of like how it's a good combination between the horror vibes and the campiness of it. I think it does it well. I know some people were kind of turned away from the campiness of some parts of the game, but man, I just ate that shit up.
I mean, hasn't that always been Resident Evil?
yeah, I think people kind of forget that sometimes that is Resident Evil. I haven't played 4. I've seen stuff from 4.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, dude, that's him punching the boulders, right? I mean,
No, that's not a 4. I think it's 5 or 6. It's one of those.
okay, well, still punching zombies at the very least.
Yes, punching zombies. Yeah, bunch of craziness. You got Heidelberg being like, "Yo, I'm making a giant monstrosity out of metal," which I heard people say, and I can kind of agree with it. It's kind of lame that he has like all this stuff, and he can pretty much kill you anytime he wants. Technically,
Yeah,
he can control metal and stuff, and it just turns into another giant monster battle, kind of even like
I've seen that battle.
But it was cool in the sense, hey, you got a kind of cool tank thing. So that was neat.
It was cool in the sense of like a few hours ago I was walking around a like Victorian castle, and now I'm fighting a giant robot mech. In the same game.
Hell fucking yeah, let's go. And as far as like the 4 lords, I really like how different they made all the areas where it was for Lady D, just, mentioned before, just a straight up Resident Evil castle, just kind of have all those vibes going around, kind of sneaking around, solving puzzles. It was classic Resident Evil, and that was great.
Yeah.
And I mentioned when we talked about this, that was a month ago, was happy when I got done with that. It's like, okay, I don't know anything else is here, and that was a small thing, so it didn't get old.
Yeah.
That's just a part of this.
And that was definitely intentionally first. So
Yeah.
they're like, all this nostalgia, you feel really good about that? Well, fuck it. It's gone. Like, now we're going for it.
Oh, you horny for this vampire lady? Well, she fucking killed her. And she's an ugly dragon lady. No,
Ugly is relative, Jeff.
this is true.
Someone was still horny for her.
True. I probably said I was the last thing. But then it goes into creepy dollhouse where there is like really no combat. It's just puzzles and all that, and you're running away from things and playing hide and seek with an evil doll thing. That's really great. And then then you're running away from a giant fish man and you kill him. Heisenberg's kind of more Resident Evil 7-ish, I would guess, going through a factory, having these very deadly monsters with like chainsaws on their hands or whatever.
Chainsaw Man?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was chainsaws. I don't know, something like that. It had power tools and they were deadly and a bitch to kill. But yeah, especially for me who sucks at aiming, because they had like this weak spot, but they kind of cover their chest and like, move your arm. I'm gonna kill you.
Come on, it's not fair.
Yeah, and all that. But yeah, all that stuff was great. But I played 4 Resident Evil games. This is by far my favorite like ending sequence, like going from at the point going into the end for me.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think it's from the time that you fucking start playing as Chris onwards, right?
Well, yeah.
It's
You beat Heisenberg, and then Ethan fucking gets killed.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh damn. Well, it's Ethan. He'll probably be fine. Something will happen. Wait, what's going on? Why are you just fading to black? Oh no. Yeah, then we're Chris, and then we're pretty much like a god. Like we have all these crazy machine guns and stuff, and it's great.
Which is hilarious, but also really cool.
And that's one of those things I've seen people kind of maybe mixed on is just, this was kind of a survival horror thing, and then you kind of go to a more generic third-person shooter thing. I love the contrast of it, honestly.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be a roller coaster ride through Resident Evil, basically. It's like, it's doing, you've had action games, you've had horror games, now you have horror into it's just like, it's an amusement park ride of Resident Evil, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I love it. It's just, okay, you play as Ethan. He is trained, but he is very, very underprepared and all that. It's like, okay, here comes Chris with all this wealth of experience and all this military gear.
And you should feel overpowered and badass.
Yes,
like, that's how
you are mowing these things down that when there's like 2 or more, you just have trouble with. And now, just only...
I think that is an awesome twist or whatever. To be able to change up the gameplay, but also the change to gameplay ties directly to the character.
Yes,
like it makes perfect sense.
And I like Chris's section of what I liked about this is all the kind of stuff up to it was very like on the surface supernaturally, but as you find the notes and stuff throughout it, and especially once you get to Mother Miranda's lab and that kind of stuff and find some more notes, like, oh, this is all science stuff that relates to 7 especially and past Resident Evil games. I'm blanking on his first name for whatever reason. Spencer, who founded Umbrella Corp, was actually Mother Miranda's like student technically, and a symbol there is what inspired the Umbrella logo. Which it's very cheesy, but I love it.
It's Resident Evil, baby.
Resident Evil and all that kind of stuff. But then the thing right after that, Mia's safe, blah blah blah, and then you get to the point where you go back to Ethan, and he's having visions of the little girl from 7. And you learn that, hey, Ethan died at the beginning of 7. He's been dead this whole
literally
time.
Like the first combat encounter. Ethan just dies.
Literally the only thing you killed as a live Ethan was your wife. Everything else you were already dead for. And it was very kind of silly and everything of how Ethan was able to survive all this stuff, like getting his hand chopped off, and especially when he his hand gets shot up, and he just kind of pours some water on it and gets it on there.
Which yeah, it was really like funny for me, but also kind of hard for me because like I was watching you play the whole game and you were talking a bunch about like it's just ridiculous. It's like ridiculous video game logic that his hand is repaired every time. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really stupid, isn't it? And it's like I was just waiting for you to get to that the whole time.
I love that.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
It's just stupid in a way, but I just love it.
But
it ties in.
But it's like it's them being very.
I think stupid. It's like cheesy and obviously, but yeah.
No, it's stupid. Yeah. But that's great. Yeah. It's wonderful. I mean, and it's self-awareness. It's like the game creator. Like I would buy that they didn't know they were even doing this or whatever. I would buy that they made 7 and then came up with this plot point, which I think is fine because like that's them being self-aware and realizing the whole Ethan hand thing or whatever is hilarious and ridiculous, and it's been ridiculous since the beginning, and it's just kind of a video game absurdity thing. And then it's like, how can we take that and like kind of like poke fun at it like for a long time, but then actually make it kind of a cool plot beat too. And it's the fact that revelation goes all the way back to 7. It's like this whole time,
the very beginning of 7. Yeah, I love it. And they just played the scenes from it and all that. No, it's great. Then you beat Mother Miranda, and that boss fight's really cool. I think is very cool final boss. Then you end. Ethan sacrifices himself. I'm like, is Ethan? Do I have more feelings for like Ethan than most other Resident Evil characters now?
That's good.
Yeah, I think they did. Like, I think he could have talked more. I mean, some of his lines when he did talk were dumb, and not even the Resident Evil way, just dumb, and the delivery of it was weird. But they did some good stuff with him, and I think they kind of sold the ending with him. I think the voice actor did a good job and all that, and what they did with the story.
Yeah.
And then we get the ending post-credit scene with older Rose, his kid at his gravesite, and she's obviously getting some training with Chris or something because she has powers. Though what's funny, what I love about this shit is now there are fan theories. For the stuff like, obviously we follow Maximilian dude for like Final Fantasy VII stuff, which we'll obviously get to later. But it's also fun doing it because he's a big Resident Evil guy. And I think it was him and some other people pointing out, there is a chance, because they kind of mentioned it in an early note thing that I missed when I was in Ethan's house beginning of the game, that Rose might age quickly. I thought that could have been like 15 years later. That could have only been 2 years later, for all I know.
They noted that she aged.
They kind
of.
They mentioned apparently in a note in Ethan's thing when she was born, or like, oh yeah, she was a very big baby. She's very big for her age. It's like, okay,
probably not mentioning that for nothing.
Yeah. So definitely setting up for a future Resident Evil, and they also set up for a potential DLC with Chris, because at the end there's another like government agency that Chris used to work for that goes in to try to fight Mother Miranda. Then it turns out those soldiers are bioweapons, like the zombies and stuff they sent in. So Chris is like, oh shit, well, we gotta kind of stop this.
Yeah.
And they did announce that there's going to be DLC, though apparently they didn't have enough foresight to know people would want that, and didn't start until after the game came out.
They said it just started. So
I'm like, what? You said that, then you didn't. What? So I'm excited for that DLC and what the future has to hold. But yeah,
yeah.
I wish they kind of.
It's kind of cool. I mean, in this game, but I feel like they can go further into it in the next game. Now that you kind of know, it's kind of cool to be you're playing as the basically biomutant experiment instead of fighting against. It's like
it's kind of cool for Ethan. He's the first the first playable Resident Evil character they have that is the bioweapon.
Yeah, the experiment. The thing,
and it'll be cool. Like, assuming you play as Rose in future games, you knowingly play as the bioweapon.
From the beginning,
and it could be interesting. Part of me, I saw some people mixed feelings about the potential to play a Rose, and I understand it, and I might even agree to a point, depending on what all they do with her. It's like, okay, this could make it very different for Resident Evil, even more so than the other action-y games, depending what they do with her. If they go as far as like a Devil May Cry, I don't think they will, because I think these last 4 games have been too successful to go completely in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still going to be first person. It's just going to, hopefully they would just you have a mechanic that she can do things like either. I mean, probably partially, but definitely partially through combat, but maybe even like puzzle weird things that you can do or something like I don't know.
But I'm kind of I'm sure some people would definitely disagree with me, but I'm kind of glad the whole Ethan's kind of legacy and his story, his part of the Resident Evil story as a whole is not necessarily ending here, and they're continuing it in a way that makes sense, potentially, or they're hinting at it.
Yeah,
especially when they end it like after that scene with Rose, like the father's story has ended. I'm like,
okay, well.
Also, again, I can't remember how I mentioned it last time. The fact that what you're collecting is your daughter's cut up body is very fucked up.
No, it's a little fucked up, I'd say. It's not bad.
Like, I see people laugh at Ethan's reaction to when he realized he has her head. It's like, how would you react if you realized you're carrying around a jar of your daughter's head?
I did see one where he drops it immediately. I'm like, it's like, well, you could have broke it. That would have been bad.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, I can understand the shock.
Oh yeah, whatever the reaction you have, I'm not gonna criticize.
Yeah, that's Resident Evil Village.
Hell yeah,
love that game.
I'm sure we'll be talking about it again at come end of year. Oh shit.
Yeah, we'll see where it lies. I mean, obviously, it's gonna be my top whatever.
Top whatever. You heard it here first.
Yep. I think the game's coming up, Darby, so I can't say like it's for sure being this top tier.
No, just top whatever. Yep.
Top whatever.
Can't wait to make our top whatever list.
Yep. I mean, who knows for me? I mean, you may do like a top 5 whatever.
Yeah, I will say whatever because it might not be 10. So
yeah, I might go to 20. Fuck it,
Whatever. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Guilty Gear Strive.
That's gonna be on there somewhere. Too bad I fucking suck at it. God, I'm so bad at this game. I'm so bad at this game.
Let's play Fighters.
Let's play Fighters?
No, the game I'm good at.
Oh, God.
Just JK.
You beat me at this game. Fighters is worse than this game, and that's like hard to imagine.
Yeah.
So bad. It's very good, though. It's very, very good.
It is very good.
Very
yeah, it is very well done. And just some of the stuff I will mention as far as going off for lightweight Maximilian dude and even like Ben more for Easy Ally say because they know more about fighting games in general.
Oh,
as far as like
we are very casual, very casual.
I played a lot of fighting games in my day. Still very casual.
I'm more casual than Jeff, but we're both very casual.
But yeah, I do like. I know some people were kind of mixed on it, especially when it was announced and going into this game. I think some people saw, but I do like how casual friendly this game is.
Yeah,
it's easier to jump in, I think, compared to other Arc System work games we tried besides Dragon Ball Fighters.
For sure. Yeah, no, I mean, this is definitely my favorite one so far. And I mean, it's like, I'm still fucking terrible at it, but I'm better at this one than a lot of the other ones. And it was like, I was surprised when I started getting some of these characters, how it's like you get to the end of their moveset pretty fast, and it's like, oh, okay, like I can remember a lot of this stuff or whatever. But then like the strategy comes from like chaining those together in the interesting ways and learning like the Roman cancels and the like using the meter in the way that they do. There's like lots of cool mechanic things of like when to use what, but it's not necessarily memorizing this in crazy spreadsheet of input,
I feel like for me, it will get easier once I kind of narrow down my character thing. Because even at the point where I'm still kind of jumping around, a little much. Because I'm still trying to figure out who I'm best. Like at least I don't want to necessarily settle on just one character. I at least want like 2 or 3 in my arsenal, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I've landed on May. No, actually, I'm a lot better with May than I was with Mila. I was trying to do Mila, and it was not working out well.
Is the fight stick helping?
Yes, I'm still bad. Still very bad.
It will be a learning curve for us for sure.
It's so weird coming off of like I haven't played that many fighting games in my life, but in like Mortal Kombat I can beat hard characters like pretty consistently. I mean it gets sweaty, but I can beat hard like CPUs. And when I played online, at least early in MK11, I was like 50% win rate or whatever, which for me I'm like, hell yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's like I've never had a fighting game where I struggled hard to get my first medium win. I'm like, damn. Like, I'm actually that fucking bad at this. It was like legitimately like 9 losses in a row to get a win on a medium computer. I'm like, damn, that's just fucking that's soul crushing.
Yeah.
But and I guess just it's just not my type of fighting game, so I guess I really do have to start at the bottom.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And like the more fighting games that we have kind of played as we got to know, like, I played a lot of fighting games when I was younger, but that was me being a dumb kid. Now that I'm older and playing all these, like, I can really appreciate the differences in the systems and all that between all these different ones. Like, even, like, you know, I keep mentioning Dragon Ball FighterZ. Difference between that and Guilty Gear, both made by the same developer. They are very different.
Very different. Very different. And I like this one a whole lot more. Like, a lot more than Dragon Ball FighterZ. To be, I think just the mechanics are more interesting to me. I actually think, like, I think I kind of agree with a lot of other people in saying I think the auto combos are bad. Like, I think it's just a bad thing for fighting games. I mean, it's just like, because everyone can do it. It doesn't make it any easier for anyone because everyone can do it. You know, it's just like, so it just makes it more chaos. It just makes the, like, everyone's like chaining things or spamming things, but there's like, you're not really doing it in any cool strategic way. You're just kind of like button mashing and doing it or whatever. Like, I think it's almost like worse for casuals anyway, because it just like makes you feel like you think you can do something but you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree, but
okay, well that's how I feel. Like, I think I liked it a lot better when
I don't think all games need it, but I don't think necessarily all outcomes are bad. But we're not talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ here.
Yeah. But I mean, but we kind of are in the sense that, like, I like the way this one's doing better. I like the, like, we have like a handful of moves or whatever, and like, and you learn those, and it's just like when to do these things or whatever. And there are, like, I don't know, I just think like the method of learning it, I feel like I'm learning more in this one than, like, I think that's part of why Dragon Ball FighterZ was just this egg that I could never, like, learn how to crack, because I just feel like a lot of these, like, moves are just like, okay, this is a thing, like, this is, I have a low attack, a high attack, and an aerial thing or whatever, and it's like, okay, cool, I have these pieces, let's go into a battle and let's try to, like, figure out, like, when to do these things and everything like that. And so I think it's mechanically really good, and it's like, I kind of like how much, like, everyone hits hard. So it's like I think that's part of probably what makes this game so hard for me and everything, is like, if you fuck up a few times, you're dead.
The computer gets one good combo on it, you're kind of already
but it does make, like, you can come back at any time, even when you're super far down. Like, comeback potential is still very strong because of that, which is fun.
Yep. Yeah, I need to learn. You get in there and get into that fight stick, you know?
Take it.
Yeah. Well, see if I won't, like, play around. Like, okay, I'll get one now.
It definitely helps, but it's I mean, I didn't expect it to be like, and suddenly I can do everything, but, like, it definitely is easier, but it's still like, it's still
well, like, as far as, like, doing the comparison between FighterZ and Guilty Gear. One thing I do appreciate about Guilty Gear is just, you know, and this is a criticism against FighterZ for sure, how different the characters feel in comparison to FighterZ. There are a lot more FighterZ characters. Guilty Gear characters are vastly different in comparison. Like, you learn one and you go into another one. It's like, it may not carry over as well. Like, just all the different styles you do. You know,
you don't have 4 Gokus.
Unless you're May, then you're just brain dead.
That's me. Hi.
Just joking. That's a meme. I think
think
that's the meme from the beta. I think you just spam dolphin.
That's good. I chose the right character then. I need to choose the
spam the dolphin, apparently.
If I can even get it. So that's my fucking problem with fighting games. Is just, again, I don't have any other type of, like, competitive game like this where like, the biggest hurdle for me is fucking doing a move. Is like making a move happen. Like, I can't even get to the point where I'm doing it at the right time because I'm just trying to fucking get it out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times it's like, I know I need to do this certain move here, and I recognize that. I recognize that he's there. I'm gonna do this, and then I just so it doesn't come out. And so then I end up like, that's why I end up doing, like, kind of the same 2 or 3 moves over and over again, because that's just all I can get out. And it's like, I know what I need to be doing. I can read the opponent. I just can't fucking do it. Like, I've just never, like, it's such a hard hurdle for me because, like, League or Overwatch or any of those, pressing the button to do the ability is like that's not what you know, it's like, you can do the abilities, just when to do them.
See, it would also be a better game if you have to do double quarter circle forward before you do a diva bomb.
Like, I just wish there was a way fighting it. Like, I kind of wish there was a fighting game that was just like, you press the button to do the thing, and it does the thing.
Smash?
But like, yes, I mean, honestly, yes. I wish there was a more detailed fighter that was still on that same premise, but I don't know. I'm just bad. But it's pretty. It's very pretty.
It is very pretty.
Jeff,
shit blazing.
tell me about Demon's Turf.
Demon Turf. It is a 3D platformer where you're playing as a 2D girl in a 3D world.
Are you a material girl?
She might be.
A material girl.
Yeah, so pretty much you're a little demon girl, and like in the Demon King or whatever, it's kind of fucking with you in your dreams, at least in the demo. Like, yo, that's messed up. So you get through a tutorial where you're learning all the jumps and all that kind of stuff. Kind of crazy movement things. You do like a double jump, and then you do, I can't remember exactly what you. They try to teach you some crazy things like jump, spin, then jump again to get a very big extra distance, or jump, spin, jump again, and roll, or stuff like that. It's like, okay, this might get crazy later on, which I am all for. But this is a 3D platformer, and you're going into these spaces and you're collecting stuff. It seems to be kind of based on life, like kind of objective base, where you're kind of going to an end level, but you can find items throughout it. So explore and see what you can find to get all the materials and stuff. And I didn't get any during this demo, but it's like you can transform. The transformation there. Well, they do like, I can't remember exactly how you do it. Kind of like do a double jump and kind of do a glide thing. You turn into like a bat and just kind of hover. Shantae. So that is always fun.
How's the platforming feel? Because I really like the art style. It's very interesting with the, like you said, like 2D character in a 3D world. It's like cool contrast. The only thing I would worry about is like, does this 2D character feel like stiff to control in the 3D environment?
I think it actually feels very good. It took a second to kind of get used to, adjust to the, I guess, the way the visual looks. But once I did, they were like, it was very smooth as far as moving there. Like, really good 3D platforming with the wall jumping and all that kind of stuff. It was done well. I didn't really have any trouble like getting where I wanted to go and all that.
Nice.
So, very good. I don't have too much more to say because it wasn't too much more than that. It was just kind of the basic thing to just give you an idea what the controls are, kind of introduce you to the world, and then it's like, okay, this is where the demo ends. See you later.
Yeah.
And what was also cool, nice about the announcement during E3 is it, obviously it's going to be PC. That's where I played the demo, but they announced it's coming PS4, PS5, so more people get the chance to play this game.
Okay, good. It should come to Switch for its own good.
Yeah.
To get more people's hands.
Yeah, wish I had more to say, but yeah.
Looks charming. Looks a very unique vibe. I mean, well, I was gonna say unique vibe, but then now we've seen like 2 more games that were like this since then, right? So, in some of these indie showcases, so it kind of seems like this 2D and the 3D thing is popular right now. But it's definitely striking. Yeah, as soon as you see it, it's like, it's just. I like the contrast of art styles. It's very interesting. Is there did she come from another dimension or something? Is that why do they explain something, or is she just, she's
in the demon world, which I don't know if they actually use the word hell, but she's pretty much in hell.
Oh, did she play the Pokemon Unite beta in Japan?
Yes.
Did she make a fake Japanese account too?
Yeah, these cute little characters. I think you mean like a devil's succubus little looking character that I think works for the Demon King. And I guess like I said, that the premise of this is, name's Demon Turf, is I can't remember if they called them gangs or stuff, but you're pretty much going in and taking over a bunch of demon gangs turf to kind of gain control of the demon realm.
Are we gonna kill Satan?
Probably.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Very fun, and it's a very wacky vibe, and I'm all for this.
We like wacky around here.
I'm hoping the actual environment was kind of pretty basic, so I'm hoping it expands.
Yeah.
Like, different different visual stuff as you go on.
Is it kind of like a hub world that you're doing a bunch of things in, or is it more like levels? Or?
So you were in a hub world, and you go into like a little portal things to go to an actual level.
Okay, cool.
Yep,
cool.
very neat game. I don't know if the demo. I think the demo is still live. I think it just started like a while ago and just never ended. So as far as I know, anyone can still try this game.
It never stops. But are you also all in for Sable?
That is the question.
Sable.
Didn't you also play this demo, Darby?
A little bit of it.
A little bit.
A little bit. Not a ton.
Yeah. I don't think I'm playing this game.
I don't think so. Okay. I'm honestly surprised. I just expected. I was like, all right, here I'm gonna look like complete negative Nancy while Jeff praises the game again. And be like, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm all right. I'm glad. I'm kind of glad.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I really like the art style.
Oh yeah. I agree,
the art style is great. Not the rest of it didn't really do much. For me,
I'm completely there.
Yeah. It does some of the Breath of the Wild like mechanics, some of the base stuff, just the climbing and the meter and that kind of stuff, and the gliding, so the bare minimum like movement stuff. But there isn't that much more to it. Some like very light puzzle stuff. You ride around a thing on a bike, and
which that bike feels horrible to control.
And
her in general doesn't control well. I don't like controlling her.
I was wondering, like, when the trail's like, I don't know how I feel about the frame rate on her, like the way she looks when she runs. And I play, it's like, I don't think I like this, because like a lot of the other stuff like still a lot more smooth, and it's just kind of jarring.
I did turn the frame rate up to 60 because it started on 30, and it did look a lot better. But I mean, her animation is still kind of what it is. I mean, it does look it looks less choppy, but it's still pretty like it's like it's
and that's obviously a stylistic choice. I don't necessarily think it's a good one. Like, it's one you probably get used to if you played it long enough, but I don't know. Yeah,
that is on my list of reasons why I don't want to play it. That one's not like at the tippy top, but that is definitely on there too. It's also, from the little bit I played, the quests seemed very uninteresting. Yeah, and very like my interactions with people seemed like very bare bones, and the world also seemed very bare bones.
I agree. It was kind of like fetch questy, and then the stuff you actually did to get the stuff didn't seem very interesting. Kind of like, unfortunately, I'm going to be comparing this to Breath of the Wild, because that's what it's trying to kind of convey, at least in the traversing mechanics. But it's not as interesting as that. It's just the more basic part of it.
And I get the vibe that it's probably a very slow start that probably picks up in some ways, but like as far as like it had all these other things that I didn't care for, so it needed to have like a story hook. And it's like, the characters seem kind of cute and charming, but it's like definitely not enough to where it was like, I didn't feel compelled. I played it in the morning before work, and it was getting too close to time. I was like, I planned to like start it and then finish it later, but I started it and I was like, I'm probably not coming back to this. I mean, I think the art style is really, really, really cool, but I think it kind of just screams like probably an indie studio that doesn't have the budget to really make this special, you know? Yeah. Okay. I did not expect. I honestly did not expect. I expect you to be like, yeah, I love it. I'm in. So, okay.
Yeah, clearing up a little bit in September time. That was on my list for September. It was like, okay,
we could use some more space. We could use some more space. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Darby, will you have space cleared up in July for Monster Hunter Stories 2?
I'll make time in my very busy video game schedule.
I mean, Darby, technically, especially if you had this, July is the most busy month between this for you. You're interested in Chris Tales and Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, that's right. That is true. Yeah, and then June had two games.
3 games.
3 games?
Guilty Gear, Ratchet, and
shit. Look at me. 5 games in 2 months.
6 games.
6 games in 2 months. Damn, I can't count either. It's been too long.
You got yourself a stew there.
Yeah, that's a game and stew. And I think I think I am going to add this one to that gaming stew. I think I might just do it. I've played the Switch demo, not like a ton of it because the demo's only on Switch, and I plan to get this game on PC, especially because I've looked at some, like the comparison things or whatever. It's like a pretty big.
I'm surprised the comparison there. I feel like they only showed on Switch.
There was like one dude that had like a whole game, like 20-minute gameplay thing on PC.
Nice.
So shout out to that dude on YouTube. But like, yeah, it looks way better. It reminds me of Dragon Quest 11 when I played it on PC, and I'm like, let me see how it looks on Switch. I'm like, oh, it's like maybe it wouldn't look that bad if I didn't have the comparison, but in the comparison, it's bad. And like, I think Monster Hunter Stories on this, like, it definitely looks very grainy and screen doory and everything.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those games where, I mean, it still looks worse in comparison to PC version, obviously, but at least compared to the Switch games, the art style probably helps it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, it's certainly it's certainly not like unplayable, but it's like if I had the option, I'm gonna go play it on the nice like thing over there or whatever. That being said, it's very jolly, and I had a good time. It's definitely not doing like it definitely is like JRPG comfort food, junk food thing or whatever. Like it's empty calories for sure. And it's
there. Yeah, Tails coming up. You gotta fix it.
I know. Jesus. I hope Tails is a little more than empty calories. I hope. Yeah, but it has a lot of things. Like the story and writing is very like corny and kind of nothing, as you would expect. Yes. Or whatever. And it starts off very slow, as you would expect. But once I finally got out into the world and I started doing the like whole Pokemon-esque, like I'm collecting monsties, and adding them to my team, and you can name them and do all these other things, and they start out as babies or whatever, and they get like it's like I'm like after I started doing that, I'm like, okay, I could kind of see getting into this. It's very lighthearted, very jolly, very low stress. It's not gonna, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's like the craziest thing ever. I don't even think like if I was in a super busy time, I might not even consider it either. But it's like for just having like a nice JRPG to play on the side, like it seems like it's hitting a lot of the notes. Like the world looks very cool. I love the art style, and the world seems like it's I've always liked the Monster Hunter environments and everything, and this is definitely like taking those similar environments but like putting it into the style,
make it more colorful.
Yes, a lot more colorful. I just think the art style pops really nice.
Yeah, and I think the Monster Hunter monsters from what we've seen translate very well to this kind of more anime style. Yeah,
when I've played it, definitely at first when I first started doing the battles, I'm like, okay, well it has this like rock paper scissors type mechanic of like power, speed, and technical attack. And definitely the first few battles I'm like, okay, literally all this is just guessing the right one. And then once you figure out the right one, you do that a bunch of times. I'm like, okay, it's like it's not a whole lot going on here. But then like as they started introducing like new abilities and skills and mechanics and everything, it definitely starts opening up. It's like that's the basis of it, is those three things. But then like if you just did that, like that would not be enough. You need to like also like time, like you and your I was about to say Pokemon, you and your monsters have like this
monsties
kinship thing that's building up, and like timing that right when to do that big attack matters a lot. And like it's not just, and like you use different skills that are one of those three things, but those cost skill points. So like when to use those at the right time and what your team composition is going to be. Because like you want to like kind of be well-rounded, but then if you're fighting a bunch of power monsters, you need to like shift something around. So I think there'll be enough there. My fears of that started this way, but
I feel like I remember people saying like, at least for stories 1, it got harder like towards the end, and there were definitely some harder.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
So
I almost died earlier. Like I don't even know. Like if you lose all your health, you lose 1 heart and you get your health back, and if you lose it again, you lose another heart, and you have 3 hearts.
Gotcha.
So you 3 hearts and you die.
I guess it represents like the lives from or whatever from Monster Hunter.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that. But your health goes down pretty fast. So it's like that makes it sound like, wow, you have a lot of health.
So how do things refill in between battles? Is it like once you're done?
You have to heal yourself.
Gotcha.
With herbs and stuff.
Gotcha.
And it has them very much the Monster Hunter thing where like all around the world I'm collecting different things. And like I've always like Monster Hunter, the actual gameplay of Monster Hunter, I like playing with y'all, but it's not necessarily my thing, bread and butter, my thing or whatever, and I don't have much of a desire to like go play it on my own and everything. But I've always like, I think they nail the whole grind of you see a really cool armor set, I want to build that cool armor set, and then when you finally get to build that armor set, you're really excited. Like that dopamine like loop is really nice, and that like slots right back in here. I already went to the smithy and I'm like, ooh, that's cute armor, I want that. It's like, oh, I have one piece away, let's go fight some things. It's like that element is in this game as well.
Nice.
And that being in this more kind of like jolly turn-based RPG is maybe more my jam as far as like going through that loop. So it's cool how Monster Hunter it is, if that makes sense.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Kind of more hearing about it's like, yeah, there are a lot of Monster Hunter mechanics that just transition very well into this style.
And just like it already seems like you're going to have a lot of monsters in here because they already like when you go to the stable, it's like, here's how you can filter between these types of monsters and you can save a preset team or whatever. If you like, you can like save a preset and like name it whatever. So it's like, this is this preset or whatever. Like, so there's always going to be enough of these monsters that you're like filtering through and like picking and choosing and matching and doing all this. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. And like there's these like monster dens and stuff like out in the world, so like you can fight them, but like I had one that was like sleeping, so I snuck up on it and like took the egg and ran away.
Nice.
You have a little like friend who was like I picked up the first egg and he's like, I don't know, that one's not that great, and picked up another one and he was like, we should probably get the hell out. He was like, we should probably get out of here, you should probably like stop picking up eggs. And I'm like, okay, fine.
One more.
It was like I should have just picked up another one just to see what happened. Cause I'm gonna scrap all this anyway. I'm gonna go to the PC, but whatever. I didn't. I was scared. But I hatched a nice little thing, and I can name all of them, which is very nice.
So Ryan Gosling's going to be in this.
Of course, but we gotta decide who is Ryan Gosling.
Sorry, you can actually get Ryan Gosling.
Oh wait, yeah, you can get that. Wait, how did I do that again?
You just need to have the save data for Ryan. Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna have it. That's
only on the Switch version.
Yeah, that's come on, give us Palamutes. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, some lucky monster is gonna have to hold the title of Ryan Gosling.
I've honestly been, since this game was announced and you showed interest, kind of surprised.
Me too.
Pleasant surprise. I mean, that's awesome.
Too, yeah.
But yeah,
the art style was definitely the thing that just like grabbed me immediately. But I was like, I don't even know what this game is. I've never heard of Monster Hunter Stories before, but this art style looks really nice. Like I said, I went into that gameplay thing being like, all right, ready to be unsold. Let's go.
You're getting the difference. Like, I'm even more sold. No, I mean, based on what I've heard from between the Treehouse and the demo, I mean, more people are in for this game now. Yeah. I think the first stories, I think it was a late 3DS game, sold well, obviously enough to get a sequel. But I think this is going to be kind of a breakout for the game, especially since it's not just going to be on Nintendo system; it's also going to be on PC, which is big.
Yes, and I don't want to oversell it. It's definitely pretty simple. It's definitely a pretty like simple game. I don't think it's going to like blow you away. But if you're like someone like me who's kind of been like bouncing off a lot of games, and I've kind of been wanting just like something nice and jolly like kind of grind away at, like like.
Well, I think this fits in a niche that's kind of been on mostly unfilled. It's kind of like more hardcore, slightly more hardcore Pokemon.
Yes, yeah.
And Pokemon, something that Pokemon has is recognizability with its creatures. Monster Hunter has that now.
Yeah,
there are over 20 million people that have played the last two games.
And I'm already like when I've gone back into the village several times. Like the last time I went back in there was like that giant sponge lion monster that like for some reason I just really like that monster a lot. But like there was one of those was just like sleeping in the town. I'm like, oh my god, look at the face. Yeah. So it's like, and like whenever, like I think the very beginning of the game when it really just seemed like I wasn't collecting monsters, they were just like going through all the tutorials and it was just like normal turn-based JRPG. I'm like, okay, this is very bare bones and very simple, but as soon as the whole Pokemon aspect went on, it was definitely the kind of click went off in my brain where I was like, oh, I want to collect. I want to collect more. I want to
skin more.
I want to skin all of my friends.
And then skin their
And
family.
then skin their family. Yeah, I guess that we are wearing those same costumes, so I didn't think about it, because like the village is very like, we love monsters, we're like friends with them, and the antagonists are like, we're the hunter. So it's like basically the antagonist is the players from World and Rise, basically.
But you're also kind
but
of
we're
like
also wearing their skin, so it's like,
yeah. But you asked permission.
We did ask permission. Oh, they're still alive. For the weird.
Yeah.
We just drape the monster over us.
Yes. Now, Darby, let's see. Did I ask permission to kill Chaos?
You don't need to ask permission. Not there at least.
Chaos.
You can kill Chaos anytime.
So, in case you already forgot the meme, I played the demo for Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins.
The fucking name too, Strangers of Paradise.
And that title immediately made more sense when you realize this is just an isekai. And then it makes you hate the game more.
Yeah. It does. It does actually, Jeff. You're right.
Oh boy, Dobby, this game rough.
Do tell.
This is a PS5 only demo, and this is on the like. I played this after playing Ratchet and Clank and Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh boy, they're like. I don't know like how far along this game is. I think they said it's 2022. This is gonna need some more time in the oven.
Yeah.
I mean, just from a visual standpoint, and all that. Like, regardless of anything else, visually it looks rough. It looks very blurry. The models don't look great, and I know that's a very like. That is one of the criticisms.
I mean, it does kind of
in the actual game.
There was so much of it. I was like, okay, this must kind of be stream compression, right? For it to look as like muddy and like it just looks like soup. It looks like black, gray, and red soup. And like, but then when you play, it's like no, the models really do just look that scuffed and that kind of like low detail. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Neo kind of looked like that, but it looked way more stylized and colorful.
Yeah.
Like the models were not like realistic, and I guess they had kind of that muddled look to them in a way. But I think that Neo looks way better because it's like bright colors and like it almost looks comic booky, where this kind of looks like they used the same engine and the same budget and tried to make gritty realism kind of. I don't know what a lot of choices in this game were, but you actually played the game.
Yeah, I did.
Everyone here actually playing is not that bad, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Playing is good.
I unfortunately can't compare it to like Neo and Souls and that kind of stuff, which is where the comparisons come from. Even before it was announced, but as someone who is not familiar with that kind of stuff, well, I could keep my butt a little bit, you know.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I might have dipped it down a difficulty level to kill Chaos. I just had to kill Chaos.
Just had to. Couldn't let Chaos win.
And it's partly because, like, I know I'm talking about getting Elden Ring, and this is a bad sign, but I just kind of want to get this demo partly to talk about in here and for the memes. And I'll put more effort into Elden Ring for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And Bloodborne, whatever. I play those again. But yeah, the mechanics are actually pretty fun. Have I think a pretty solid foundation that they can kind of work around. May need some fine tuning and stuff. Like it has the whole class system and all that. You can kind of switch around between all these different weapons and spells and all that kind of stuff. Like the the actual gameplay of it is kind of what, based on the rumors, at least to me, kind of expected / kind of wanted. It's just everything else around it that's not good.
Yeah, I mean that's from everything I've heard. Like, yeah, I mean the Souls with the Final Fantasy classes, that sounds awesome. And that's exactly what I was like, expecting. But it's just,
and definitely like I think it's easier than the Souls games, mainly based off the demo and all that kind of stuff. Which again, what we wanted.
Yes, I mean
and difficulty settings and all that. But
as you didn't expect the setting and visuals to be so irredeemable, just like
and the thing is, I kind of mentioned it before. We're gonna go that deep into it. Like the general setting of like maybe kind of a darker vibe, at least at Garland's castle.
No.
That's kind of what I would maybe expect.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more dark.
It's a different type of dark, though.
Yeah.
There's like some dark gothic, or like Victoria, like there's dark, and then there's like a Hot Topic biker gang.
Well,
dark.
When I say that, I mean the setting of it and Garland himself, not necessarily the dialogue and the Hot Topic model voice.
No, I am chaos.
Yeah. No, you're Garland. And I whooped your ass.
Yeah.
No,
So good.
One of those things, it doesn't redeem it. Is like, well, yeah, Chaos is kind of the bad guy and like Dissidia, and that's kind of a thing. But yeah.
The game is just a meme, though.
It is a meme. Yeah, and as far as gameplay, it is fun. You do get to test out some things as far as you start as like a swordsman, like a great sword and kind of stuff going in there. It's like, oh, okay, now I can do magic and all that. Use that, be ranked filth and all that.
Of course.
But you're limited and all that, and yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah. Go if you're actually interested in the gameplay of this. Unfortunately, again, I don't have much of a comparison point to its contemporaries. So go do that. But yeah, gameplay good. And unfortunately, it hasn't been 2 weeks since I played this game.
But is the gameplay good? And Tunic.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, I want this game.
Out of the 4 demos, this is probably my favorite that I played on this list.
Unsurprising, but that's what I want to hear.
Well, I guess the only one that had a chance is Demon's Turf.
True.
Yes, since I said I didn't. Well, yeah.
True. True. But still, this is one of those games that I look at it and I was like, I'd be very surprised if this is bad.
Yeah, I forgot until one of the presentations that this was made by one dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's understandable why it's taken forever.
It is. And from what I played of this game, Darby, it is very polished. It for people who are wanting like a 2D style Zelda game, I know we get to get many of those, but this is one of those that's like, this is obviously more than others inspired by Zelda. I mean, the fox is wearing like a green tunic thing, and just the way it is, like the cameras and just everything.
It wears it on his sleeve for sure.
It wears it on his sleeve, and it is very good. So far, you start off on this thing, you just gotta go exploring. You get a stick, okay. Then at some point you find a sword, and that immediately opens up. Hey, I can cut this stuff down. Oh shit! I found a dungeon.
Nice.
Then you go through that, and enemies are a lot easier to kill and stuff. It's a joy to explore. There is stuff to find. It's partly because of timing at the time I was playing this, because I played all 4 of these demos in one day, and then played Ratchet and Clank. That was just my day.
It's a good day.
There was this enemy that was actually pretty difficult. I didn't actually beat because I was like, okay, I'm dying here too much. I dropped a bridge earlier. It's like, okay, let me go across that bridge and see what's over there before I deal with that. And it was like a dungeon. I went through it, and then I think, from right, the end of the demo was on the other side of it. So I didn't even fight the guy. I was like, okay, maybe I was supposed to beat that right now or something. Probably could have, but unfortunately, I'm bad with the whole dodging and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like I dodged, but I still got hit.
I'm sure there's a streamer who did it without getting hit.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think it was guarding something, but I can't remember. Or it might have just been a difficult thing to defeat. But yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, that art style is just incredible.
Yeah, and something that's fun, because like Zelda games and all this stuff, it's a game you might want to replay again, like speedrun and stuff, but something that I learned from Bloodworth from Easy Allies that might make you want to replay the game is when you read stuff in like the dialogue and stuff, even when you pick up stuff, it's in a language you can't understand. It's just random symbols. But apparently, when you replay the game, it's translated.
It's fucking near automata and
so you're reading this stuff, you have no idea what it means. So then you go back and you'll understand.
That's fun. So is it like is it fixed camera top down, or is it you're moving the camera around in this?
I think fixed camera. I don't know if I tried to move the camera because I just kind of assumed it was fixed.
Yeah, it probably is.
I think it is. From footage I see, I didn't see anyone moved it, so yeah, it's fixed. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of thing. Like they played Link's Awakening. And it's a couple of years ago, this 2 years, relatively recently, and it reminds me instantly of that with the art style. And all
Yeah,
that.
I was about to say. So, I mean, does it feel like? It is straight up like a 2D Zelda with like a lot of modern things and like modern art style, whatever, or is it like playing with the 3D aspect of it more or something? Is it like?
I'd say more of the former when I played. I don't think it's playing.
Yeah.
It hasn't played too much, but there's only a small slice of the game. And like a lot of these demos, it had it's always funny to me when you're in these like this fantasy world and you just see like normal like construction signs like no, you can't come. This part's not done.
Just do with a top hat.
Yeah.
It's like stop.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yep.
Well, dope.
Yep. I think I think this is the more clear winner out of the
Do we have
demos that
a
I played.
date or anything on this?
We don't. I think it's still this year, but I don't have a date, so reason why I didn't just go ahead and grab it on Fantasy Critic.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, this is not a safe one to grab until you see a date.
It's a safe, it's a safe one for score wise.
Oh yeah, but I mean not until you see a date.
Yeah. So anyone who's into the 2D Zelda like games, definitely keep an eye on this one, and maybe look an eye out for a demo if they release another one. This one was unfortunately timed, and it is done now.
Yeah,
Tunic's really good.
I'll be in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
might be Game Pass day
maybe.
one, so that'll be nice.
Ooh,
I think it's been shown to that stuff. So
that would be pretty sweet.
you know what else is pretty sweet?
Pretty sweet.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Interlude Intermission.
Yeah,
That's not the official title of it, but I just wanted to make it longer and stupider.
But I mean, like the fact that this DLC is technically called Intermission it's very square. It is aggressively square.
Yep.
I love it, Jeff. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I got to play as Yuffie a year after Remake and never, ever, 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 ever would have thought that. And God, it's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm still just surprised from that announcement. Like, oh yeah, we did not expect to play as Yuffie before Red 13.
For years.
And they do it within a year, and she plays fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's the way she plays makes you more excited for the future because in a way it does feel like a step up.
Yeah.
From the actual feel of her character compared to the ones in 7 Remake proper.
Yes.
On vanilla.
That was it would have been exciting enough if she just felt like she was like a bonus remake character that wasn't, whatever. Like they had this one on the hopper or whatever, and it just slots right along. But like, no, it definitely feels like part of Intermission is testing things out for part 2. You definitely feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. From the most obvious thing is like the team up attacks and everything with her, but there's even other things like. I think one of our biggest criticisms was like aerial combat sucks in the other one. This is like throw triangle, zip to it. Bam. It's like, God, it felt great.
There are a couple things that made me very curious, and I feel like we'll start here. Because as we said at the top, there are going to be spoilers for this. We're not going to hold back on that kind of stuff. But at the very least right now, probably focus on mechanics for a little bit.
Yeah. I will definitely say, I mean, you should, if you're interested, if you've played Remake, whenever you get a PS5, you should definitely play this game.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
I wouldn't say, like, I don't think it's going to be required playing in the sense that, like, I think if you don't play this, I don't think you're going to be completely lost when you see Yuffie. I think this is more, like, character development for Yuffie, so that
you might get confused when underground stuff pops up again. Probably, maybe a little bit.
You're gonna be confused regardless. But yeah. So I'm just gonna say I don't think it's necessarily like required, but you should play. I mean, it's really damn good. Anyway,
yeah.
All
right. So yeah, as far as the aerial combat, that like you said, that was a pretty common complaint, and they addressed that. Yuffie's crazy up in there. You throw your shuriken. Oh, you're going up against. You're running. You follow it, and you're slashing and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, what I'm very curious about is even with the team up attacks, I do think is definitely testing the waters for future games. But I'm curious how they do it because, like, let's say for the characters that we have played as so far, Cloud and Tifa makes sense for aerial combat. I think. Aerith and Barrett less so.
Yeah.
But I think that could also be very cool if they do make, at least especially Cloud, does more of the aerial stuff, but maybe not do it for Aerith and Barrett, just to kind of further make it like, okay, these characters are different.
Yeah.
Like the way they feel will be different and be useful for different situations.
But you could also even have like a different type of team up attack. Like maybe Aerith adds an element to Barrett's shots or something. You know, you could have something like that. It's not necessarily like slinging them around or something. It's like some other vibe. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the arrow comment there. But yeah, the team attack is also. Yeah, I'm very curious. Like,
gotcha.
Will they do it for every character?
Yeah.
Like between every character,
I wouldn't be
they
the
get
most
unruly.
I wouldn't be the most surprised if like we'll get into theories later, but I think that like obviously you're gonna be playing as Zack. I wouldn't be surprised if like the Yuffie Sonnen thing is gonna be more used than the Zack combat things or whatever. But I do hope that they can find some way to do it in the other ones, because I do think that is something that everyone's like, the 7 combat's amazing. It's amazing being able to play all these characters and like control them and do all that. But that was like one really hype thing that it was like, oh, but I want, you know, and like especially now we saw like Yuffie jumping off of Sonnen's like thing or whatever. I want to see like Tifa doing something crazy like that, like Cloud.
I mean, you jump on the side of a Buster Sword and just throw it.
It'd be like really cool, and just like the other creative things you could get with that could be really awesome. But talking about Yuffie just in general and how she plays, I mean, like, I think it was really, really cool how they were able to make her like individually function on her own and be like, because this was a team game for the most part, like a party-based game or whatever, but like for the most part, you're only controlling her, but like you don't feel like you miss it that much, because they just like, she has a cool answer for whatever you need. And this is like the most actiony I think Remake has ever felt in a good way, where like you're like going up and like hitting, the difference between hitting square and then holding square, like going bam, 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 and then you like disengage by holding it, was just brilliant. And it like really, really, I think this was the Remake gameplay style at its peak that we've seen it so far, as far as like that image of its part action game, part turn-based game. I think like this is the best. It's like this is what they were envisioning, I think, in a really cool way.
I agree. Yeah, what you mentioned in the tools they gave Yuffie with being able to give elements to your shuriken to kind of go up and give that weaknesses, since you know you're pretty much mainly controlling her. You can give Sonnen some, you know, tell him what to do and stuff, and add materia and stuff. But I think that makes the combat more dynamic. I'm curious if they let her keep that in future things, because in part 2 and beyond, just because that might make her more of a she has to be in the party kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping it just means that everyone else is going to be revamped in cool ways too, and have more going on with them.
Because I'm very curious, because again, I think they're testing the water with some of this stuff. Like, they got to change some stuff in there to make the combat fresh. Yeah, especially since they gave you a lot of the big materia and level ups and stuff,
right? And
already left you up to level 45 and shit,
right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if part 2 has more drastic gameplay changes than we think for that reason, because 1 already felt like such a complete game with that. Yeah, it's hard to not start talking about part 2. But like, it was just like in part 1, it was like definitely you go up and swing and you dodge and stuff. Yuffie feels like she's straight up. There's like combos. There's like, you throw the triangle, you zip up to it, you punch, and then you hold square to disengage. Like,
you might get thrown involved sometimes.
Yeah, it's like that string was so damn satisfying when you like you throw the shuriken in them, you run away, you dodge an attack, and then it's like right when they're open, you go bam, 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 you zip to them, bam, bam, and then disengage. It was like you always felt like a fucking badass, because the amount of space that you moved doing that was just crazy, the mobility and everything. And that's not even using materia and all that things, like in the way that they like went.
I don't think I use materia much for Yuffie besides heal.
Yeah, no, heal and the elemental ninjutsu was like the only thing I did outside of like, you know, everything else was like the abilities. Yeah.
Save that MP for healing.
But then it's still definitely like I use the assess way more than I ever did. Like there was a lot of like there was some there was some boss battles that I didn't even worry about elemental weaknesses in the base game in this game, especially because you were the only character. It definitely was harder, I think, than some of the times in the other game, and that became very important. So the strategy was definitely still there, you know.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's talk about Yuffie herself.
Yes, because only talking about gameplay. This was again right when this happened. We were saying like this is the perfect character to have this for because she was an optional character in the base game.
Story rise. I mean, Vince is another optional character, but he kind of needs to be where he is right now.
Right? No, yeah, it wouldn't make as much sense. But like Yuffie is definitely someone you could move around. I mean. Case in point, you can find her anywhere in the world where there's woods. I mean, it's like there's really nowhere that she's locked down story wise. Like you can find, and a lot of her, like I think Yuffie is a cool character even in the original, but like I think what they were going for with Yuffie, a lot of people were annoyed with Yuffie in the base game, and I was too. Especially I was a kid too, so I had less patience, I think. But like. I think what they were going for with Yuffie didn't necessarily come across the way they wanted to in the base game because she just didn't get enough screen time because she was optional. And almost all of her character development was like started and ended in the Wutai section. And anytime before and after that, you really didn't get a lot with her. And like that's something in general I think Remake is just going to be better in general is that Yuffie and Vincent don't have to feel like, oh yeah, they're still part of this, I guess, because like
they will be interjected in like put in the story naturally.
And so Yuffie is just the perfect one to drastically change how she starts this thing. And I think she's a perfect character to have. Like, I think out of all the characters we've met, she's the most different from the original. Like, with her mannerisms and just her as a character. But I think that's great. I think she is like way stronger of a character now than she was in any of the other like Final Fantasy VII things.
No, you don't have to compare it to Dirge. I'm sure we know. We know.
And I thought she was just goddamn delightful. She was great. I loved her. Like I love like she's such a different character than the rest of them. I mean, they've done like Aerith that's kind of playful, but like this is like a kid. This is like a like cocky, naive little girl that like was
it makes you
such a cool.
It's really excited. Like okay, how's she gonna play off with the rest of the party once we get there? Probably kind of. Make probably Red 13 more of a straight man.
Yeah, the Yuffie Red 13 dynamic is going to be hilarious. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said.
Dominating.
She's the perfect character to do this for. And what I love about what they did with her in here and with her story in this is in the way they build our Wutai in the first game and through this DLC. It's like even just. She makes a lot more sense to actually join the party in general. Now she has a purpose for joining your party. Like you're besides wanting to steal your materia.
Right.
She at the end is like, I'm gonna find a team. And it's like, well, we got the perfect group of misfits right there. And your goals pretty much align.
Absolutely.
And I think that is great. And the way they presented the story, it makes a lot of sense. Why she would do that, like where she did where it is, but without taking away what the way Yuffie kind of was in the original. Like, didn't change it. They just added more instead of like completely making her a completely different character.
Right. I mean, it's the kind of it's definitely from the same vibe of 7 Remake, where it's like we're still the core of who these characters are is still there to the point where you're going to get nostalgia and you still love these characters in the same way, but we're going to like really think long and hard about why they are the way they are and what that will mean for like in the like flesh that out like so much more. And I think they did a perfect like arguably like one of the best jobs of like really transforming a character that way, where it's like, yeah, she is still that punk kid, she's still a lot of these things that she always was, but her mannerisms, like you see the heart in it a lot more. You see like who she really is, or like her trying to be someone she's not, trying to figure out who she is, all that stuff. so much more than you would have before, and just kind of the character growth. And I think a big part of it is they set this up so well because they are nailing the Wu-Tai mystery in the original game. Like them coming from Wu-Tai like makes perfect sense after all the like hints and everything in 7, and it just makes it like that much more interesting, you know.
Yeah, a lot better world building with that. Yeah. So, how do you feel about Sonon and his relationship with Yuffie?
Yeah, I really like him. I mean, like sometimes I think the straight man character can be kind of forgettable sometimes, and I mean, maybe I've seen some people not really like him very much. Like I thought him and Yuffie's dynamic was like really strong.
Yeah. I love how, he was immediately like, hey, you're more experienced. You're the boss. And just calls her boss throughout this whole thing. I love it.
That's the type of little like things in writing that the like subtlety is just so much better than most like Japanese Square games that I've ever seen.
Yeah, no. I mean, like legitimately, it is. I mean, it does have some of that Square-isms in this,
for sure,
and throughout this. But yeah, something we've been saying, and I play Kingdom Hearts and all that kind of shit. It is crazy how different and just better generally the writing is in this game.
Yeah,
and between the world building, just the dialogue and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I was just thinking about when you were talking about Yuffie and all that stuff, and the way they kind of made the characters like. Final Fantasy VII characters were already Square's most beloved characters, pretty much. And they're making them better and more memorable.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, I really like Sonon for the time we spent for him, especially. And I did have the fear, I was like, okay, is he going to feel like nothing? Because we kind of have an idea of he's probably going to die or something. And he kind of did, but probably coming back in some way.
He's in Nero's Shadow Torment realm, probably.
Yes. Yeah, I think he did a good job, and I think it was a good way to kind of help Yuffie kind of develop, get some character development through all this, and to play off of Yuffie and her craziness.
Right. That was definitely. I mean, I think Sonon is not like a flashy, crazy character on his own. I think he was. It was you love like. The strength of his character was him playing off of Yuffie, and like you really did feel like there was they relied on each other. Like if one of them would not be able to do this without the other, you could like really tell with that, because like Yuffie is like very good at what she does or whatever, but obviously she would be dead halfway through this thing if Sonon wasn't there to like keep her in check. But then the reverse also happens, because Sonon has a lot of emotional baggage that like I think it was very strong when they got off the elevator and Sonon's getting really angry and Yuffie was like, yeah, I'm there with you, let's go. It's like they're back and forth, and just like how much of an arc it feels like they both had in a pretty short amount of time was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It was only like really 3 or 4 hours of like hard story, like you can do a bunch of side things or whatever, but it's like not really that, just basically 2 chapters, and how much they were able to feel like they went on a journey, I was very impressed with.
Okay, so I guess how do you feel about, the beginning of it was pretty simple. It was just them kind of getting to know each other and doing some shenanigans, chasing after some avalanche people, some Shinra soldiers.
Yeah, and this is where I'll definitely, I think we have to, obviously I am head over heels for everything Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I am like completely biased and everything. But
what?
I will point out, just like I think we can point out in 7, a lot of like I think the characters are like, the main characters are super great, and a lot of the side characters are super great. But I definitely think Remake had it, and this definitely has it. Some of these side characters definitely feel like pretty low effort. Billy Bob and the Avalanche crew.
What?
Some of these people, I mean, even the name, it's like, oh yeah, we have to. Fuck, his name's Billy Bob. Just make him look like Axel from Guilty Gear, sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of those definitely feel kind of throwaway.
Probably never see him again.
Probably won't. Yeah.
They're there to introduce Fort Condor, and that's it.
That's about it. And the 7 Remake definitely had that, like the side quests in Sector 7 slums. I ate it all up, but it's not the best content in the world. And I think that's kind of true here too. I think Fort Condor is interesting. I think I like it less than sounds like a lot of other people do. I mean,
I played the tutorial. I was done with it.
I mean, I played like three games. It is fun. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's a fine little like very simple tower defense thing or whatever. But I didn't think it was like this crazy. It's no Gwent.
No, yeah.
There's no Gwent.
No blitzball, you know?
So you're real here. But I think it was fun. I mean, I hope they do take it into the next game. I mean, because it was kind of, I mean, it has the Gwent vibe of like whenever you go to a shop, it's like, oh, you're selling this unit, whatever, you know. It's like, I think in-game games are always cool. I think it's always a cool thing. Even if you never touch it, it's just a cool thing to have in the world. But it didn't necessarily wasn't necessarily the highlight of the DLC like it was for some other people, it sounds like.
Yep.
But just jumping around, I don't think we necessarily have to go beat by beat or whatever. But the fucking Cowboy Bebop music, just straight up Cowboy Bebop music for a whole chapter.
Yeah, like goes around like, oh yeah, dude.
Oh, so, yeah.
Different.
Was not expecting to just like hard jazz battle music, but something about jazz. Like just straight jazz but it's like a battle theme. It's like really cool to me.
Yeah,
it was dope. And like it's just like let's fucking strap in because we are only at game 1 of like probably 3, and they've already done this much musically, and it's like that's like with the jukebox thing, but this like they will go in like so many different styles and vibes and everything.
There's a heavy metal Happy Turtle song.
Yes. And there's a heavy metal. There's like the fight on like the battle theme or whatever has like 15 versions in Remake.
Hey Darby.
We're gonna fucking get the Golden Salsa. We're gonna fucking get the Costa del Sol. We're gonna get to the ice.
Hey Darby, you know something I just remembered? We got tickets to a Final Fantasy VII Remake concert later this year.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna like actually cry.
It'll be great.
There's no way I don't.
But yeah, they go in to Shinra headquarters to steal the ultimate materia.
Yeah, it was a very aimless mission they had going on here.
Yeah, but materia.
But I think all this was cool, and it was kind of cool to see Scarlet kind of get a section when she didn't really get, you know, like she didn't really get a focused section in Remake. It felt like as much. It was like kind of cool to have like because we know we're gonna get Palmer later, and we're very excited.
Yeah, I'll say it like,
later. But Scarlet, like even in the base game, up until like a part way further than that you haven't gotten to, she's kind of a big deal then. But like other than that, she has like 1 or 2 moments in the base game, and that's about it. So it was kind of cool to see her get her antagonist like arc thing or whatever, you know.
Get her more involved some, and more connection to like Shinra sucks and all that kind of stuff. Get it when the big wigs in there. Feel like this kind of matters in a way.
Yeah, I mean all these characters are just like cartoonishly evil, but like they're like you kind of love them for that. So
Scarlet is very cartoonish, even if it's because she has a soldier. She uses a footstool, and when she leaves, falls on it.
I kind of love Scarlet though. Like it's ridiculous. It's like she is absurd, but I kind of love it.
No, I dig it.
Yeah,
I love that shit.
Oh yeah, it's great.
But Dory, how do you feel about Deep Ground? We got to get to it.
Yeah. We need to probably wrap this up.
Dory, we haven't gotten to the post credit scenes yet. Strap in.
Jesus Christ, guys, it's almost 11. Yeah, I wish it wasn't there. I mean, for being real, I do. I think I trust the remake team and everything to. I mean, we're going all in on like folding in the compilation. That's very abundantly clear at this point. I have faith that they're going to do it in a more interesting way. I think introducing some of these elements earlier will probably make some of this stuff cooler, like easier to understand. It'll be like, you know, like this weird shadowy organization underneath everything. I mean, I guess if you see them earlier, I think it'll be better. But I do think it is a little discouraging that it's like, this is definitely the first time I can say like not everything that the remake team touches is gold. Because like I still think Nero kind of sucks as a character. I mean, do you agree? I haven't really heard you talk about it that much.
You could have made his design a little more less cringe.
It's just like, yeah, the design is definitely what they did.
Even I think like because Final Fantasy VII is really tired. I think generally speaking, like Vice's design is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, for what if we're gonna have a crazy over the top villain, Nero's a little much.
Nero's much. I mean, he is fucking using dark magic.
Yeah,
shit. It's like,
I mean, that's fine. Just the whole like having like bondage stuff.
Yeah,
not kink shaming, but
I mean, it's honestly more like, yeah, his design is like ridiculous and everything, but it's also like his character is just like the least interesting shonen anime shit or whatever, where he's just, what is this pain? I want to feel more of this, like this death. And I'm like, oh, okay, please leave, please. Like, he's just very uninteresting. And even in Remake, he felt similar levels of uninteresting that he did in Dirge of Cerberus, which is like, it like maybe played it a little too close to old Dirge or whatever. So it's like, this is the first time I've seen like a character come back. I'm like, yeah, this is like, you didn't make this better. I mean, maybe you made it better, but like not substantially. So
that's a very low bar.
Yeah, it's a low bar. I mean, did you find? I mean, I just found him to be a very kind of cringy, uninteresting antagonist for this whole thing.
Boss fight's fun.
Yeah, the boss fight's a blast. Yeah, it's awesome. But him as a character, it's like,
well, he's coming back. You're saying
definitely coming back. I'm really hoping in like minor ways. I mean, especially since this was a DLC. Like, I mean, this was obviously they're throwing a bone to Dirge of Cerberus. They've already thrown multiple bones to Advent Children. Like, this is happening.
Yeah.
I just like, I still, maybe I'm naive, I still have a feeling it's not going to be like the end of the game, Nero sitting there next to Sephiroth. Like, I think it's still going to be like kind of on the fringes. Like, he's going to come back, but I don't think Nero's going to be a huge plot point at Golden Saucer or something where he wasn't supposed to be.
I imagine what it's going to be is at some point they're inserting him into, like, I don't know when, into the game where it makes sense or anything, but they're just going to insert it to where you deal with him and might kind of intersect it with Sephiroth or that kind of general story a little bit, or Shinra, but nothing like too crazy. Yeah, I don't expect him to be like at necessarily the very end of the game standing next to Sephiroth or some shit. But
like, I expect by the time we get to the crater, Nero is like long gone. Like, we've already dealt with Nero.
Again, he kind of just snatches Sonon up, so that's going to come back. That's going to be part of
maybe during the Wutai arc.
Yeah, it's going to come out in the Yuffie's arc at some point.
Yeah,
which, I feel like that by itself can be fine is depending how, I guess, Nero himself acts.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously, this isn't going to be the end of him, but I'm not too worried that it's going to be like super in the way, if that makes sense.
No,
At least,
I agree.
Yeah,
we'll see if Vice ever gets not bored and just gets up and does something. Like, they're just kind of transforming to a computer program. I'm just humoring them.
Yeah. Let's just hope he stays there.
He won't.
I should have known when everyone's like, oh, Vice is just a computer program. Don't worry. They're not bringing. Dirge is not going to be a huge plot point in this DLC. Don't worry. So, yeah, well.
Everyone's like, well, fuck.
Well, shit. As soon as I saw his fucking.
All right, Dari, let's get to the. Let's get to the endings. Well, we'll talk about Yuffie's final scene, or I guess before the final scene thing. Yeah. Where so after Sona dies, she runs out and she watches the plate fall. We see that from above.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
like, fuck.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Yuffie automatically right there, just that one moment alone, is a completely different character when you're meeting her for the first time than it was in base game. It's like you have so much more emotional attachment to her and like, what she's doing.
Like, earlier, then it goes into her running a chocobo outside Midgar and she's like, I'm gonna form a team. Which great. Just means like, okay, we're gonna get her next game. That's gonna be great.
All right, but in the real shit,
we get the post credit scene where we see the main party walking around and going to Calm.
Yeah,
and he was trying to teach Aerith how to hitchhike.
all of it, just in my veins. I want to see this crew on a road trip around this fucking. Oh my god.
Yep. But them hitchhiking work. Barrett's like, yo, stop. Choco Bill's like, whoa.
Whoa.
Get in the back of my chocobos.
Oh, the way they call him, I was like, are these motherfuckers gonna show calm? I was like, almost this way.
To see in the distance.
Because that thing kept going on. I was like, I was like, okay, that was great. It was like, oh, it's still going on. I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm
it's
very
great. Oh my god, it's still going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting thing of like, okay, I guess when I do think like Maximilian dude and other people are right where I think we're gonna do the flashback.
Yeah.
That's how the game's gonna start. But then after that,
Yep.
yeah, not gonna be outside Midgar. It's going to be we're there.
Yeah, they're gonna be in the inn or whatever. But yeah, I do.
So
think
it does make me very curious how the open world quote unquote is going to be for the next game.
Yeah, I mean, do you think we should be taking anything from this cutscene and them showing so much and like the bird flying over the thing and showing these like wide landscaping thing? It's like it gets me horny for that open world. Like,
if anything, for me, it makes me think less like we're getting an open world like people are thinking.
It makes you less.
Yeah,
less
because the fact we see them traveling in a cutscene.
I mean, but it's all cutscene. It's not like they've shown any gameplay, you know?
I know, but the fact, we didn't actually do the journey to Calm. I mean, they could still do the open world, but if it makes me move the needle either way with that, it makes me lean towards.
But like when you get out of Calm, you'll be right there, like in the same. I mean, Calm is like right there outside of Midgar. I just think that like starting at the flashback is a way more interesting place to start than let's walk down the road a little bit to this town. I don't really, at least for me, I don't think that like sways it one way or the other, or at least not outside of open world. Like I just think that like that's a way stronger place to start narratively. Is like start right.
I'm gonna say I think people need to get their expectations in check as far as the open world.
Yeah, I'm not expecting like fucking Horizon Zero Dawn, like but I'm expecting like more hubs. But I'm expecting it to be considerably more open than part one.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, but people, are thinking closer to Horizon or talking about that, fantasizing about that. I'm like, let's get expectation a little bit in check.
And I still don't think, because just the design of 7 is not open at all. I mean, a lot of the 7 environments are very rigid, and also, I kind of expect that this take.
If you want the game to come out within the next 5 years,
Now, I'm expecting, like semi-open environments that it'll be like the outside of Midgar to Calm area is going to be a like kind of explorable area that you can go, and then like over by Chocobo Farms will be a thing, and then Junon will be another like area, and then Golden Saucer will be another area. And that might be all of the areas we have for this game. There'll be lots of other things, but I expect like all these areas to be like semi explorable areas, but then you probably reach an end of that area and then it's like a cutscene of like, and they travel to the next area. It's like, it's I don't expect it to be a seamless open world, because I do think that would be kind of crazy.
I agree.
And like their game design doesn't necessarily correlate to that. They'd have to change a lot about their game design to because honestly the level
that's mainly what I'm getting at.
The level design in Remake is not the best. I love the game to death, but the level design is not the best. I mean, it's very rigid and very like funnel you into an area. So I don't even know if they'd be great at a seamless open world. Like I don't even know if that would play great. So all that's great, and I will definitely talk about it more just because I think that trailer, I'm gonna watch that over and over again. Like this part of it, the whole like crew going through the thing, just it got me so excited. And like again, the character writing and dialogue is just so much better, and it has any fucking right to be. Good lord, it's so great. But the juice is at the very
Juice
end.
from Ratchet and Clank is
very end. Yes, it's also great. But the real juice is Zach at the end.
Yes,
we get Zach in front of the Aerith's church. Just 10 out of 10 dialogue with rehearsing meeting Aerith again for the first time in a long time. It's like
quite a while.
God, it's so good.
Multiple years have passed.
Busts in there. Everyone's crying. It's a bad scene going on in here. It's like all the children from the orphanage that like Aerith watched after, all crying. The flowers are wilted, like they haven't been taken care of and stuff. Everyone's crying. Cuts over to Zach. Zach looks like he's about to bust out crying or something, and it just cuts to black. And he says, "Aerith," like in a questioning Aerith. Oh boy. Lots to unpack.
Yep. Well, let's start with one thing people keep on talking about. I don't think this is the same timeline as our team. People are jumping to that. I do not see where they're getting that from.
I don't either. Yeah, and like people are very emphatically jumping. There's a lot of articles being like, "Oh, this is what this means." I agree. I think we are still. I think it's two different timelines. We saw Zach and Cloud pass each other in the same area,
and
like,
we talked about off camera timeline wise. Where the stuff with Zach happens is months before. Yes.
And
7 proper starts.
I don't think they would have done this whole scene the way they did the scene if it was just Aerith is gone on a mission with Cloud and them or whatever, and everyone's sad about it or whatever.
Also, Zach's not going to react to a plate has fallen since he
that too. And like if you think about timeline like time passing wise. The point that Zach got there or whatever, you think he was just gonna dick around for a few months before going into to Midgard and see Aerith's like, no, like this is like way before all of that. And it's just like that moment would not be that emotional if it was just like Aerith is gone with Cloud and them or whatever. Like she's still alive, but she's just gone or whatever. Because that's not what that moment. I think that moment is supposed to be communicating to us that we are in a different timeline, and because of the events that have happened, this is butterfly effect led to Aerith is dead.
Yes.
Which I think that does. I mean, none of us know what the fuck is going on with this whole Zach thing, where we expect to be playing as Zach, but narratively, I don't think anyone has a good guess of what this means for the remake project in general, and like story-wise, what this is going to go to. And so we're already interested. I think that makes it even more interesting. If it's like, what does Final Fantasy VII look like without Aerith? My guess is pretty fucking bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't know where they go with it. Like, as far as that goes, I feel like potentially, we talked about earlier, and I think you even mentioned with Zach, the whole Yuffie team up mechanical in person. That could just be experimenting for Zach chapters. Yep. I mentioned this before us talking, I don't think actually on mic, that I can see easily, like, let's say they do about 16, 17 chapters again for part 2. Around chapter 7 or 8-ish, we just jump to Zach and do a couple chapters or something. And that's how they might handle that. And I think it makes sense, especially from a ATB gauge, whatever, with healing and stuff, that Zach just has a partner to at least help with healing. Roche, yes, definitely. To heal.
I'm calling it Zach and Roche.
You know what? let's do it.
It's gonna be a different Roche.
Yeah. Or I wonder if he does alternate version Tifa.
Good.
Or maybe mix in and out depending on the story. I could definitely see that. And that's the way they do it. But yeah, it definitely shows more like, okay, Zach's timeline is definitely going to be more of a focus than maybe some people initially thought.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely always thought, like, there's no way they do this. And it's like, oh, it's a side thing that doesn't matter. It's like, no.
It's just to show how time can change. Like, no.
No, God, no. There are way smaller ways to show that. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always. I mean, I expect to play like way less of Zach than Cloud.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But we did just see, like you said, we saw that they could do a whole chapter where you have one playable character, and I do think that that's probably more of a thing for this, because you're not going to want to have this crazy big like open thing for what I think is going to be like a smaller like filling in the gaps, like what's going on over there, so I expect to have way more linear missions as Zach and maybe one other person.
I can see Zach, and it makes sense and everything to reuse assets, kind of like they did somewhat with Yuffie with similar environments and stuff, same place. Like Zach's kind of retracing the Cloud's party steps.
Right, and you probably will be behind. It'll probably be like areas that you just went. I expect, like you said, somewhere halfway through the game, maybe Sephiroth shows up somewhere he shouldn't, and maybe Sephiroth references Zach or something, and then it like cuts over to Zach and what's going on. Because also, I think Sephiroth's fingers are all over this. I think So like our Sephiroth, I think, is going to be in Zach's timeline as well. I think Sephiroth is a dimension crosser at this point.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very curious what they're all gonna do with Zach, and yeah, I'm curious to see what caused Aerith's, presumed death in that timeline.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested. I mean, I guess it could be so many different things, but something about it is gonna make like Shinra was able to do that, or maybe just Sephiroth straight up went and killed her in that timeline. I mean, maybe Sephiroth is trying to build the perfect timeline to win or something, and like maybe not having Cloud become who he's supposed to become. Yeah. And killing Aerith.
I feel like the whole them killing Aerith in Zach's timeline also makes sense from an potential where they might go narratively. Whenever Zach does cross over into the main timeline, he'll have more of an emotional reaction to seeing Aerith.
Yeah. Oh god, that would be brutal.
Yeah, and even Aerith will obviously have one, but yeah, even more so with Zach.
Yeah. Yeah. Brutal.
Yep. All this crazy shit.
And then if you've romanced Aerith, then that'll get really awkward,
Yeah.
But good thing we are all romancing Barrett as we should.
Exactly.
So that's the true romance option in all of this. Not Yuffie, because she's fucking like...
I'm calling the police.
She's fucking like 12, 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Whoo, boy. God, I'm so excited. Well, that was a lot of talking, Jeff.
It was.
It was very, very good, though.
Indeed.
So thank you guys so much for joining us.
For this all gameplay talk episode of the Nerds
2 hours and 15 minutes without a lick of news.
Yeah.
Woo,
look forward to next week where I don't know what all will happen. But we will surely talk about Kazuya and Smash because he releases tomorrow as of this recording. So we'll play with him.
Yes.
Maybe even with Shantae.
Shantae's
Mii costume.
Did Shantae get music, you said?
One song, yeah.
Good, cool. I'll have to go listen to that. Bye.
Bye.